Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, innit? It's Tuesday, innit? Tuesday. Shout out to all my British people. Shout out to my British people in the chat. It's Tuesday, innit? Yeah, I have the princess hair out. You can see my forehead. Don't bully me. I know it's kind of big, but it's just... It's for more forehead kisses is all, so it's fine. Don't play tic-tac-toe on my forehead. That's all I asked. Please don't do that to me. Why are you laughing? It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for the 2-month membership. It's nice to see you over here. I know you were like on all the Irium streams. I haven't been streaming on Irium the last couple days because I've just been on here and I've just been busy. But I'm happy to be able to be streaming on YouTube and stuff again. Because let's be honest, as much as I do enjoy Irium. And I will stream on there occasionally. But my main platforms are obviously YouTube and Twitch, so. The braid, you like the braid bangs? I love this hair. This was like one of my newest ones. I wanted something different. It was actually very much inspired by Game of Thrones. If you guys ever watched that. It's been forever since I watched it. I actually stopped watching it because I got like super triggered. They were being really mean to this one guy. I forget his real name, but like they were calling him like this name that was like really mean, and they were like doing awful things to him, and it was like torture, and it was terrible. And I was like, I literally had to stop watching the show because it was making me so like upset. I was so parasocial. Yeah, I think it was Theon. That made me so like I literally had to stop watching. I couldn't keep watching because of everything that was happening. I just couldn't do it. Skylar, thank you so much for the membership for 3 months. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was rough. That was awful. Yeah, that was like, for those of you who've seen it know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, I won't go into details, obviously, because it was, like, I mean, it literally made me stop watching the show because it just made me, so uncomfortable and sad and miserable, honestly, to watch it. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff today. I'm sure you guys are going to have your own opinions. I just ask, as always, that everyone remains respectful of each other. And, you know, we keep it civil, keep it respectful. I think that's the most important thing to do whenever we have conversations like this. And this is a serious conversation today. It's a serious one. I haven't seen, I'm going to be honest, I really haven't watched a lot of Leaflet. I've seen some clips here and there. She seems like a sweet girl, you know, she's been really nice to me. But yeah, I don't know her personally. I don't really know a lot of her views on things. I believe, like, I watched the first, like, 30 seconds of this just to kind of see, like, she had some clips in the beginning. I think I might have some agreements with her. I'm not sure if I'll agree with her on everything. I just don't know. Because I haven't watched this yet. So we're going to blind react to it together. And just kind of, I'll give my takes. I'll give my opinions. Yeah, I was under the impression she was a Christian. I know when she did that whole, was it like an interview with Nyara? There were some things I believe she had said that I didn't agree with. There were a lot of things she said I did agree with. There were some things she said I also didn't agree with. So I'm just not sure. But, you know, we'll find out. We'll see. And I'm excited to watch it and share my thoughts. So, yeah, that's what we're doing today. Fun stuff. Have you guys had a good day, though? I have my water. Hydrating. I have my Diet Coke. I can't lie. Just gotta have it. So crispy. I will say, if your Diet Coke is not crispy, then it's just not, it's not good. It has to be cold and it has to be crispy. Otherwise, what is the point? Also, we're going to see how loud she is, because yesterday we were having some, like, I was having to turn up the gain and stuff to hear Rev better. So, you guys just let me know If I need to turn the volume up a little bit, I can. So just let me know. Crispy? Yeah, so like your soda needs to be crispy. It's like just crispy. I don't know why you're not the first person to be like crispy, but like crispy, you know? Like you're like, yeah, bubbly, crisp. I just say like crispy. It needs to be a crispy Diet Coke, you know? Cause yeah, flat is gross. Yeah, if it's not flat, it's crisp. It's like extra crisp. I don't know. Leaflet is a Christian, but she says she doesn't think she's very good at being one. Oh. However, she said she's becoming more religious lately, paraphrasing. Well, I mean, we're all, hey, I'm the last person to judge someone like that just because, like, we're all on our walk and, you know, nobody's perfect by any means, so I'm excited to check this out. Let's do this thing. Let's do it. Where's my scene at? Here it is. My ears are caught off. Oh no, I'm gonna get small so we can like see Leaflet. No, okay, not that small. Hold on. I just want to make sure we can see her and all the good stuff. Okay, I think that's pretty good. All right. Like I said, make sure you guys let me know. Like if for some reason you can't hear very good, I'm gonna turn the background music off so we can just get her. And yeah, we are reacting to Leaflet. Oh, I need to put the link for this in, hold on. I'll put it in chat for right now. I'll put it in the description after. It's like the one thing I forgot to do. I'll pin it though. You guys go check out Leaflet. She's very sweet. Ahem. No, my Firefox is not gray. This is editing. You're good. Okay. Like I said though, let me know if anything needs to be turned up or whatever, but we're reacting to Leaflet's video she just uploaded yesterday. Oh, I should subscribe. Yeah, hit the bell. And it's called I Debated a Viewer on Abortion. So let's see what's up. 1 second, let me get my stuff over here. My stuff. And come on, get smaller. Okay. Okay, cool.
To what you're saying. You said I wouldn't do murder, but if another person does murder, I don't know, maybe it's okay. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Let me explain the abortion thing. It's really quite simple. A lot of the people that are pro-abortion, and I don't mean like hardcore, like that's all they think about, like pro-abortion. I'm talking about like the people who are like, oh, well, you know, I believe people should have control of their bodies. Like those people.
Is this sound okay, by the way? Is it too loud, not loud enough? On my end, I can hear her pretty well, but comparatively to me, everything good? Sounds good? Okay.
Well, they don't know what they're doing. They don't think it's murder. So it's not that they're happy with the murder occurring. They don't believe it's murder culturally. And
yeah.
Like, am I saying that like that's a good thing? I don't think so. But I don't really think it's an indictment of their character when they don't know. I think they like culturally, they don't understand. It's kind of like in the same way, it's kind of like thinking about people in the past, right? This is the irony of it, right? You know, these people always talk about slavery. It's kind of like the same thing. We're like, in the past,
people do not want to hear that. Like, people, like, you see, like, the people that go to, like, college campuses or whatever, they're, like, street preaching, standing in the street. They'll have the signs that, like, compare abortion to slavery. And that really offends and upsets some people. But, I mean, you'll hear what she has to say. I think the correlation between the two, like comparing them in this specific way, I think it's fair.
They didn't have a concept that was a bad thing. Abortion is a double-edged sword, banning legal and safe.
It's also just that it's normalized, you know, like slavery back along, whenever slavery was a thing, it was normalized, right? It doesn't mean that it was good. And today, abortion has been normalized, but that also doesn't mean that it's good.
Abortion only fuels dangerous and unsafe abortion. Tazuto, by that logic, should we give people like a nice safe place to murder other people? Because they're gonna do it anyway. What does it have to do with it? Everything. Explain it. So the idea that you can kill, that if you don't kill babies, if you don't give people an easy way to kill babies, that they're gonna do it anyway, so we should allow it. Murder.
That's so true. Like, you know, it's like, oh, well, they're gonna do it anyways, so like we should make it safe so that they don't. Okay, well, that's not a good excuse. Like you're still gonna kill anyways, so
Murderers are gonna kill people anyway, so shouldn't we give them an easy way to do it? Because they're gonna do it anyway. Those are entirely different situations. How? Explain how it's different. See, now it's on you to explain how it's different, because I think they're the same. One involves grown people and the other involves clump of cells. Well,
and I'm sure she's going to say this, but we are all clumps of cells. That's not an argument.
Well, you're a clump of cells, Tazuto. Can I kill you now? Yeah, real humans aren't made out of cells. A sentient clump? Okay, so if you go into a coma and you...
Are we acting also like babies are not sentient at all? Like, I can assure you that you go look at an ultrasound, the baby is moving around. The baby, you'll see babies sucking their thumbs. You'll see all different kinds of things. I can most definitely assure you that a baby inside of a womb is sentient. It might not be exactly the same as a human, not a human, they are human, but like as a grown human. But also that argument gets so confusing because it doesn't make sense. Like if we're basing everything based on like if everything's based on the fact that like, oh, some people will say like, oh, when it gets a heartbeat, or when this happens, but it's like, at what point does the life become worth protecting? You know, like, is it heartbeat, viability, birth? Like, when do you decide? Like, if you're someone who thinks abortion is acceptable, when do you decide when it magically transforms from just being a clump of cells that isn't a human to being a baby that's worthy of protection? Like, when is that line for you? Because if it's not going to be at conception, if it's not going to be when that unique DNA is created, when the life is formed, right? When is it going to be worth protecting? I'm just curious.
You weren't sentient? You're a clump of cells that's not sentient. Then can I kill you? That's up to your family to decide? Wait, real? Bro, that's crazy, bro. Let me make it easier for you, okay, Tazuto? Let me make it easier for you, Tazuto. If you were in a coma, but you were gonna wake up and say like, let's say like in 9 months, you're gonna wake up. Can we kill you? Yeah, would they know that? Yeah, say we knew that. Say hypothetically we knew that. Then just wait, why? Why though? Why would you wait, Tazuto? Why? Because you would recover. Yeah, that's my point. Exactly. If you just wait with the baby, then it comes out. Then answer this. Are you willing to pay for care to support forced births? Am I willing to pay for babies to not be killed? Yeah. Forced births. You know that they...
You know, instead of putting all of like your money into abortion care, you could put it into money for like, you know, low-income families that need help, or adoption agencies. Like there are lots of other options that you could put your money towards if you feel passionate about helping women in these situations, and men, because it affects men too. You don't have to just murder the child just because it seems a little inconvenient.
They had a choice, right, to get pregnant. You know, in most cases, do you know that? There's like a 100% surefire guaranteed way, like 99.9% effective to like not get pregnant. Did you know that? So in every other case...
Nobody wants to hear that though, because nobody can accept the fact that a lot of people believe you should wait until you're married to have sex. And you know, when you're having sex with someone, guess what? There's a possibility that a baby happens, even if you're on birth control, even if you're using a condom, even if you're doing all these things, it's still always going to be a possibility. And of course, there are the really unfortunate, like 1% of cases that are things like rape and stuff, which I'm sure we'll get to in this video. But At the end of the day, why does the child have to suffer and die because of someone else's sin, because of someone else's, bad decision?
Case, it's a choice. Most cases, well, there's a couple cases in which, like, a woman can get pregnant, like, and it's not her fault at all. Did you hear about the basically dead woman that was forced to be kept on life support?
I don't know what she's going to say about this, but I want to give my take first, because actually, when I heard about this, people were very, very upset. Did you hear about the basically dead woman that was forced to be kept on life support to keep the child alive? If that woman was me, if I was like on life support because I was pregnant, and if I was taken off life support, I would die, but the only way my baby would be kept alive and be able to be born was to keep me on life support, you better believe I would want to be kept on life support to keep my child alive. Like, that's actually crazy to me, because it's like, I just can't understand that at all. Like, that entire situation makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't know.
Keep
it's
the child
crazy.
alive. Okay, I got a fun one for this. Not Julio. Talzito, I have a fun one for this, okay? Here's a fun thought experiment, okay?
Someone in chat said one of my problems is you shouldn't use abortion as convenience. Well, of course you shouldn't, but you shouldn't use abortion, period, because it's murder, and you're murdering an innocent child that can't even do anything to defend themselves. So, like, yes, you shouldn't use it as convenience. You also shouldn't do it at all.
Let's say I said to you, all right, Talzito, we're gonna make a law, all right? Abortion is fully illegal, except for the case that the physical life of the mother is in danger, not through means of their own doing. And then we allow it for incest as well, and for rape. Would you be okay with it then? Like, would you say, okay, sure, we can ban all other abortions? Would you be okay with that? All right.
They'll never be okay with that. That's the thing, though, is people who argue for abortion, they'll always bring up the cases of rape, incest, all these things. And so, obviously I don't agree with abortions even in those instances, because I don't believe you should punish an innocent child and kill the child just because of something the parents do. However, let's say, like she said, a hypothetical. Hypothetically, we'll agree to that. And we'll say, okay, we'll ban everything but those instances. That's still not going to be good enough. And that's because they're only using those examples to, like, try and pull at your heartstrings and get you to, like, basically feel stupid. But that's not even how they really feel, because it's not just that they feel that way about those things, because if they did, then whenever you would say this, you would say, oh, is this okay? Like, would you be okay with it if we only allowed it in those circumstances? No, that isn't good enough. They want it for convenience. They want it just because, well, I just don't want to be pregnant. I just don't want to deal with this. I just want to be able to sleep around and do whatever I want and not face the consequences of the fact that it produced an entire child. And I just want to be able to murder my child so I can just keep doing what I want to do.
Talzito, you want to call so you're not, like, freaking talking in the chat? 20 minutes max, though, because I gotta get to watching videos. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. So will you take that trade? So here's the situation, okay? Here's the situation. We fully ban 100% abortion, incest, and cases where the life of the mother is in danger through medical, non-psychological means. And those three...
What do you mean by medical, non-psychological?
So, like, for instance, if a woman says, I need an abortion, and they're like, is it because your life is a threat? And they said, oh, well, I'm gonna hurt myself. Like, we wouldn't count that. That wouldn't be, like, a valid reason. But, like, because it's an abusable loophole, that's why. But let's see in the...
Yeah, because anybody could just say, if I have to have this child, I'm gonna hurt myself or I'm gonna harm myself. Like, that would be a very easy loophole to just say.
Other cases, right? Medical stuff, like they have some kind of, say there's some kind of blockage, or like the mother is weak and like she can't actually like have the child. Let's say in like those cases, right? Rape, incest, the physical safety of the mother. Say in those 3 cases, I were to agree with you and say, okay, 100% allowed forever until the end of time, okay? But we ban all the other abortions. Would you be okay with that?
Only if, because of the forced ban on all other abortions,
Yes.
they make it by law and a federally funded and insurely funded, and never, like anyone tries to pass any kind of bill or something to try and get rid of it and stuff.
Okay.
As long as people are supported in having these children.
Well, like right now,
Because
for instance, in what way?
Because right now, people will be like, oh no, you have to have the baby, et cetera, and then once the baby is born, they're like, well, fuck off. You shouldn't have had the baby in the first place.
Well,
I don't think that's how everyone feels. Actually, there are a lot of and I'm not saying we can't do better. Obviously, you can always do better, but there are lots of centers that focus on helping, mothers and families that decide to keep a child and they need resources. But like, what are we wanting funded? Like, is it basically just like they don't want to have the responsibility of taking care of their child? Like, are we supposed to, what are we supposed to be funding? What are we supposed to be paying for whenever they had the child? They decided, to have sex. They decided, and because keep in mind, in this hypothetical scenario, we're talking about the fact that, life of the mother, rape, incest, all those things are, am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Am I supposed to say grape? I hate that. I hate it so much. It's so, like, it makes my skin crawl, honestly, to have to use words like that instead. But, I mean, if you have to, I don't know. But anyways, chat can probably tell me. I've never really talked about all these things on stream. But the thing is like, it just doesn't make any sense.
You couldn't afford it.
You can give the baby up for adoption, right?
Instantly. The second the baby is born, they flip flop.
No, you can give the baby up for adoption. There's actually more people that want to adopt babies.
Give the baby up for adoption. The thing is, people still don't support that. They don't. Support,
what do you mean?
Still don't want to pay taxes.
Okay, I'm gonna hear what he has
to support those what's the word? Those whatever funded things.
No, but you can have the baby, right? You can have the baby, and then you could give the baby up for adoption. There's more people that want to adopt babies than there are babies in supply.
No, I know that there's a lot of children that need adoption.
But okay, you know what? For the sake of argument, let's say, okay, you know what? We'll
and adoption is a whole separate issue that honestly needs to be like completely revamped from the top down or bottom up or however you want to say it, because there are a lot of problems with it. Similarly with foster care, in my opinion. But it's still an option, like it is most definitely an option. And she's right. There are actually more people who want to adopt than there are babies, basically waiting to be adopted. Not to mention the fact that it's just, I just don't understand, because I've heard people say too, like with abortion specifically, oh, this child should just be aborted because the parents can't afford it, they're gonna have a bad life. And it's like, well, why can't you just take them to, like, why can't they just be put up for adoption? Well, whenever you're in the adoption, agency, and whenever you do all that, or like if you're in the foster care system, they'll say it's so bad. And I'm not going to sit here and say that bad things never happen, right? They do happen. It's very unfortunate. But it's like, would it be better if those children were never born? And I've asked people that, and some of them have actually said yes. Some of them have actually said, yes, actually, it would be better if those kids were never born, instead of going into foster care and adoption and things like that. And I think that is just such a disgusting, awful thing to say, and just like mentality. Like, how could you ever how could you ever say something like that, you know? And then you'll see, and you can, like, I'm sure you can find tons of videos online like this, but you'll see someone who was adopted themselves, or someone themselves who went through foster care, and maybe they were, you know, maybe their parents wanted to abort them, but they didn't. Or maybe they were a child conceived out of rape. There are many people walking around. You could have walked by someone yesterday at the grocery store that could have been conceived from rape, but you would never know because they look exactly like you and me. You would never know because they're a normal person like you and me. So how come their life is not worthy of existence just because they were conceived in an awful, disgusting, reprehensible way?
We'll do that, right? We'll set it up so like you can easily have the baby comfortably in the hospital, and then, you know, we'll give the baby up for adoption. Then would you be okay with it? Then you would say we could ban 98% of abortions.
If it's guaranteed that if the person decides to have the baby, or if the person decides to give them up for adoption, either whoever decides to keep the baby is funded to take care of that baby. Because
Okay,
right
you know what,
now,
for the sake of argument,
they just
sure.
try to force people to have the baby.
Sure, for the sake of argument, sure. Let's just say sure. Just
As long as that
yeah, for this
taken
argument, we'll
care
say
of,
sure.
and that is insured, then I'm fine with banning, you know, the majority of abortions, so long as they actually take the.
So
the
you would do
taxes
that.
and stuff
You would say
fund
that you would say that women no longer they no longer have a right to an abortion, except for those 2% of cases that I said.
As long as they're supported, because that is the main reason people have abortions, is because they can't support that child.
I don't know if I buy that one, but you know what? Okay.
And also, accidents happen.
Yeah. What about it?
Accidents happen, so like not everyone chooses to have a kid, even when they take all the precautions. Condoms break, spermicides don't work, etc., etc.
Yeah. Did you know? Did you know though that there is a 100? Did you? Holy fuck, Towson. Did you know that there is a 100% way to not get pregnant? Did you know that?
Let me guess, not have sex?
Yes.
Well, guess what? At the end of the day, across the entirety of mankind's existence, people are going to have sex.
Yeah, and then they have to live with the consequences of their actions.
People are going to multiply.
Yeah, it's the consequence of their actions. You know, you can just decide not to do it, right?
Can decide not to have children.
You can decide not to have sex.
Oh, I know, but people do it because
People do it all the time.
Something they
Yeah, it's like, yeah, people do it, and that's what happens. Also, someone in the chat said, should an 11-year-old be forced to go through with birth? It's an actual thing that does happen, by the way, not an unrealistic hypothetical. I'm not going to sit here and say it never happens. I'm going to say that that is a very, 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 out of all the abortions that happen, that's very, 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 very low. I would say it's very, very rare, thankfully. But of course, that is a horrible and tragic situation. You know, no child should ever endure those types of things. That's awful. And we need to make sure we prioritize anyone in that situation's health and safety. But I don't like this idea of like forced birth, because that assumes that the alternative to that is like harmless. But abortion also involves force. You're ending the innocent life. And it's not always like just a little pill that you swallow, you know, like it gets pretty graphic and disturbing when removing babies from bodies. So yeah, extremely rare case. And of course people present these cases. I'm not saying you in specific, but I think a lot of people present these cases in bad faith, because they are so rare. It's just so rare. That being said, like, even in these awful, terrible cases, a baby is a separate human life. So pushing them, like punishing that child for the crime doesn't bring healing for the child that was hurt, doesn't bring justice for anyone. So, you know, if you really truly believe abortion is murder, which I do, it wouldn't make sense to say that murder is okay sometimes And I don't believe it's okay. And I think, like, with specific instances, regardless of what those instances are, whether it's whether it's, like you said an 11-year-old girl, whether it's a body that has some kind of condition or other kind of issue, modern medicine can monitor people. We can make sure that everyone is supported, monitored very closely, because I think at the end of the day, like, safety for the mother and the baby is number one. It's most important. And I know some people are saying, like, what if an abortion is required to save the mother? From what I've researched, that's just not, like, the case. Now, when it comes to things like D&Cs and stuff, people will like to twist things and make it out to be like that's an abortion. Or like if you have a miscarriage and you need to get a D&C, or if you have an ectopic pregnancy. In those cases, the baby is not alive. So it's not an abortion where you are actually, like, intentionally taking the life of the child. Because the child is not living. The pregnancy isn't viable. So
enjoy. It's the same as any other.
Yeah, but you don't have to do it though. You don't have. Yeah,
people enjoy playing games.
Sure, but you don't have to do it.
Games.
Yeah, you don't have to. So if you do a thing, that has an accepted risk, like you accept that there's a risk. Did you agree or disagree that if two people have sex, that there is a risk of pregnancy?
And there's always a risk of pregnancy when two people have sex.
So you're rolling the dice, correct?
Unless they're not able to have children because of, physical conditions or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you're rolling the dice, correct? Like you do it knowing that it will lead, that could possibly lead to pregnancy. So why is that anyone else's fault?
I know.
When you roll the dice, why is that anyone else's fault?
It's not.
It's not, and it's also not the baby's fault. They don't deserve to die for that because you fucked up.
And the baby also doesn't deserve to be born into a world that doesn't care for them.
Well, I mean,
refuses to fund care for them.
Okay,
that
so
is one of the main problems. People don't want to fund these children.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
They want to defend the, pro-life. Oh yeah, we're also about, babies being born and stuff. But once the baby's born, then they just villainize that they villainize the mother.
Where's the limiting factor here? Where's the limiting factor here, though?
The child. Like, why did you?
Where's the limiting factor here? So say you're 5 years old, right? Say I'm your mom and you're 5 years old, right? I say, this world sucks. Like, man, look what happened. Trump got elected. I gotta kill Tazuto. It's like the only way, because like I don't want him to have to live in this world. And then she kills you.
Did you guys see that video the other day of that woman that said, like, her kid, she was scared because of everything going on in the world that she might have to, like, take her kids out so that, like, the government didn't come and take her kids out or something. It was, like, scary. It was actually, like, alarming. I know it kind of went viral. It was this woman, and she was like, yeah, everything's going so crazy. I think it was, like, specifically regarding ICE. And so she was saying, it's so terrifying to know that, they could just come and hurt my kids and take my kids, and I hope I'm not the only parent who feels this way, but I think it might be, I hate to even say it, but if it comes down to it, I'll take my kids out first, myself, to protect them. It's like, we live in crazy world.
That's, some kind of mental psychotic disorder or something. What about it?
So you think that's okay?
On a 5-year-old child? Yeah.
Yeah, you think that's okay?
Not.
Okay, what's the difference then?
Because a fetus in the womb is not really sentient until up to a certain point.
Okay, well, say you're 5 years old, and then you go into a coma.
Obviously,
and you're gonna wake up
to having abortion.
Why?
Like it doesn't make sense to have an abortion when you're like 2-3 months in or soming.
Why?
I don't know the exact.
What's the difference?
Exact science, because I'm not a fucking doctor. Okay.
Well, but I mean, what do you believe then?
They're trying.
Leaflet isn't a doctor either. I don't think.
They're calling
Dr. Leaflet. We need like a doctor outfit.
Even the pill, even the day after pill, they're calling abortion.
You know that, like, not knowing the situation is not like an excuse for you making an assertive claim, right? Like, you can't.
Someone in chat just said thoughts on kids being born in North Korea. Should they be having kids? Once again, I am not going to advocate for the murder of innocent children just because circumstances are not ideal. Also, we start getting into like eugenics territory at certain parts, like with abortion. It's just, we have normalized it far. I mean, it's been so normalized that these kind of conversations, like, they're very, it's honestly just alarming.
You can't say like,
All right,
like this,
then
this,
how
and
about
this, and this, and
Answer
this,
me
and then I
why-
say, explain to me why. You're like, I don't know.
Answer me this. Answer me this then. Why do they consider the day after pill abortion?
So the day after pill, I believe it prevents. So the correct me if I'm wrong, but the conception has already occurs. It prevents implantation. Correct?
Say that again.
Does the morning after pill work this way? I'm just making sure that this is how it works. Is that conception occurs, as in the sperm and the egg combine, creates the new DNA of the person, and then the implantation of that, the implantation of the new person is basically prevented. Is that how it works? Yeah, I'll just look it up.
I don't know.
I'll look it up. I'll look it
how
up.
day after pill works. All I know is that it, stops it like immediately.
So here's a better question.
And it's only been like
when
a
do
day.
you
It's got no time to grow.
when do you draw the line? So you said that 5 years old is too old to kill your kid. So like
anything after birth is too old.
okay, so
obviously.
when is it not? So like an hour before.
This is the question, right? It's like, when is the cutoff? Because if you are comfortable with abortion, if you believe abortion is okay, when is the child's life worth something? When is it worth protecting? Like, when is that cutoff? It feels kind of arbitrary. So, I mean, there are, like, let me look up, like, who was the earliest baby to be delivered and survive? Because, let's say 30 years ago. I mean, 100 years ago, right? Things were very different than they were 10 years ago. And things 10 years ago are very different than they are now. Just over 1 year old, Nash has been given the Guinness World Record for most premature baby born at 21 weeks and 0 days. Guys, 21 weeks and 0 days. To keep in mind, like, full term is considered 40 weeks. Some people, go a little later. Some people go a little earlier. 21 weeks. Do you know how many abortions happen after 21 weeks? A lot. See, and now someone says, okay, we'll make it 22 weeks. Okay, so what happens in 20 years when we have the technology to help stabilize a 15-week-old child? And then 10 years later, we have the technology to help stabilize an 8-week-old, child. What? Just because the technology changes doesn't mean the baby's value changes. Does that make sense? Morals don't change. Yeah, morals don't change over time.
Or can you kill it?
Like a baby is a baby is a baby is a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby.
No, because it's 9 months old by then. Because it's developed.
How about 8?
It's very difficult to decide a specific time frame on that, and that's what a lot of people can't agree on.
Would you agree that life and death?
Me personally, I wouldn't have an abortion because I want a child.
Okay, but here's the thing, like
I don't think this guy's having an abortion because I don't think he's a woman, but I get what he's saying.
This isn't about.
I didn't mean to make that full screen. I get what he's saying, right? He's saying, like, if he was with a woman and she got pregnant, he wouldn't want her to have an abortion, but... Yes.
Well, let me ask you then. Do you think that other people should be able to get it? Do you think that by policy, other people should be able to get an abortion?
They should be. Then
you have a stake. Because you have a stake because that's your ideology.
But right now,
So within reason, we should be able to murder babies. Like, I just want to make it very clear... what is being said, because it has been so, abortion has just been so normalized. I just want everyone to be aware of the fact that it is denial. We are in a state of denial, and I think, I agree a little bit with Leaflet, what she was saying in the beginning about how some people are just genuinely ignorant or unaware of the fact, I think many people, quite honestly, avoid labeling abortion as murder because acknowledging it would require confronting the fact that, was it like over 60 million abortions have happened in the US since Roe versus Wade? It's like, it's a lot. A lot of children have been murdered. So it's easier to dehumanize a baby when they're really small, calling it, you know, a fetus or a clump of cells or whatever you want to call it, to dehumanize it. And rather than just like accepting the reality of what's actually happening. So, you know, I just think that people just, like, nobody wants to accept what's actually going on because it's terrible.
The pro-abortion side is having to deal with people that do not negotiate to any kind of standard.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
The day after pill is abortion.
Okay,
Hell,
so let's focus.
They think birth control is abortion.
Okay. So let's find the limiting factor then. Okay. So you said that 9 wasn't. You said that 9 is too long. How about 8? Because then we can then by working backwards we can see which treatments are allowed. Does that make sense? So 8. Can you do 8?
No.
Can you do 7?
Let's skip ahead over to.
He doesn't want to answer it. He doesn't want to answer this. He can't answer it actually because he doesn't know what he believes.
Okay.
And I think it's because he knows actually it is messed up because it is a baby. So
Takes around 6 to 7 weeks of gestation for the clump of cells to have a heartbeat.
Okay. So is the heart the limiting factor? So if a thing doesn't have a heart, thank you. If a thing doesn't have a heart, you should be able to kill it. Even like, let's say like in the future we have technology. Yes, the keychains are right here. Sorry about that. My mom's talking to me. Hypothetical. In the future, we have a technology that allows a human being that doesn't have a heart to exist, say via a mechanical implant that can replace a person's heart.
Those do exist already, mechanical hearts.
Okay, so can you kill them then?
No.
Because they don't have a heart.
How about you tell me, what do you determine to be the factor of life?
I actually can tell you that, but I'd like to hear yours first. Then I'll tell you, because I don't want your answer to be clouded by mine. But I will tell you, though. I promise you. I promise you at the end of this conversation, I will tell you.
I'm trying to think of which...
We got like new stickers.
I'm gonna go for... Because this gets it more into the kind of soulsy realm.
Sure.
What makes a person?
Yeah. Well, what does make a person?
A person is made by their body, their mind, and their soul. All 3 things are what make a person, I think. And even a newborn has a mind. It's just, not developed.
So a newborn has a mind, but the mind is not developed. Does a baby in a womb not have a mind outside of the womb? So I'm confused. Maybe like let's say 10 minutes before the child is born. Does the baby not have a mind? Does the mind only get implanted once the baby escapes the womb? Once it makes it into the open air? Does like the mind get like implanted in? What about the soul? Does a baby's soul, because this guy's talking about souls. Hey, he brought it up, not me. I am religious, obviously, and I do think that the Bible is very clear. However, I don't think you have to be religious to discuss abortion at all. I think abortion is very clearly, from a purely scientific standpoint, very clearly murder. Yeah, and of course, like this person said, I knew you before I formed you and knitted you in your mother's womb. Like, from the Bible standpoint specifically, it's very clear. So, but he mentioned souls. So when does the soul go into the body? Is that also transmitted via Wi-Fi as soon as the baby rolls out, into the open air? Just curious.
As for what the soul is, we still don't know exactly what a soul is.
Okay.
And obviously a body, we know what the body is. I'm not a professional in any of these fields, obviously. Nobody is. Nobody in chat is. You aren't. None of us are.
Sure, but you should be able to have
I can't really put a finger exactly.
You know, he's not a professional, and I mean, yeah, I'm not a professional by any means, but I mean, he seems to have opinions, you know. I don't think you have to be a professional to have an opinion, especially when, you know, that it's pretty clear to me. I mean, I will admit, back in like high school and a lot of college, whenever asked about abortion, it was always a very uncomfortable topic for me. I never liked it. And I wasn't religious then, obviously, but I always had a weird feeling about it. And this is what I would say. I would tell people, women have the right to choose. Because that was what I was, you know, that's what everyone told me. You know, to be a good person, you have to believe that. So, of course, that's what I would say. I would always say, but I would never have an abortion. Now, why would I specifically never have an abortion? Like, I reflect on that a little bit now, and I think about it more, and I think it's because I knew that it was murdering my child, and I would never want to murder my child. It wasn't because at the time in high school I felt like I was ready to have a child. It's not because I necessarily wanted a child right then and there, but, I mean, no. You know, I always felt like, you know, I would never have one. And I always would make that clear, you know. You know, people can do what they want, but I would never do that. It's like, why would I never do that? Well, because it's wrong.
Exactly on when a human becomes
So I have another question, like a follow-up to this.
When a human becomes a human. I think a human's always been a human, actually, but, you know, whenever it gets its unique DNA, separate from the mother and the father, unique DNA for the child, that child is a human, it's a human. So
would you agree or disagree that life and the termination of a life is a very important thing? Like it is, life is of utmost importance, that the concept of killing somebody is a big deal. Would you say yes or no? So if you advocate then, right? So if you're advocating for people should be able to commit abortion, but you don't know if it's killing, like, do you think that's okay?
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, but you said that we should do it. But you said that it should be allowed, right? So if you don't know at which point life starts, then wouldn't you agree that it's a very dangerous thing to toy with? I'll give you a good example.
Like, you would think if you didn't know, you would err on the side of caution, right? I think that's typically what most people would assume whenever you don't know something, when you're unsure about something as serious as, you know, from their perspective, potential murder. I believe it's murder, but they're not exactly sure when it becomes murder, when it's okay. Wouldn't you think you should err on the side of caution? Because you just don't know. You're just not able to figure out when the baby is a baby.
Say there was a barrel, right? And I told you there may or may not be a person inside that barrel. Would you shoot it?
Going the Schrodinger's cat route?
Yeah, it is. It's literally like Schrodinger's baby.
No.
You don't know, right?
If there's a possibility there's someone in there, I wouldn't shoot it.
Okay.
So if there's a possibility. Okay. So he's not sure, but if there's a possibility, it sounds like he's not sure about when the baby is a baby. Like, maybe it's a possibility.
But the thing is, we have tools and technology to see into the barrel.
But you don't know though. But like in the case of like whether.
Yeah, we do. We have tools to be able to see ultrasounds. I mean, you can do an ultrasound at any point in a pregnancy. You could do one at 6 weeks. You could do one at 5 weeks. You could do one at 20 weeks. You can do one at any weeks. So why can't he give us an answer of when abortions are allowed and when they shouldn't be allowed because the baby becomes a baby? I'm just curious because we do have that available.
Or not the fetus.
Sorry, I know I'm pausing so much. I'm gonna have to like let her talk a little more.
This is a person. You don't actually know the answer, right? You admit it yourself that you're not an expert. You don't know. So wouldn't you then defer to the side of life because that's actually more important?
I defer to the side of life if that life is guaranteed to be taken care of.
Okay, sure.
Because that is the main. I think that is the main line of.
And don't get me wrong. Here I am pausing again. I guess that's kind of the point, right? But yes, of course, we want all lives to be taken care of. However, let's say, it's a hypothetical, but it's not a hypothetical. This happens every day. There's a baby who was born, grows up in a house, and is severely, beaten and treated awfully and starved at times and just really, really abused. Should that baby have not been born because the parents did not take good care of that baby? That baby grew up to be a person, obviously. They're a person, but they grew up to be like a adult, right? Now that at the time baby that grew up in that abusive home, now he's a 30-year-old man. He has his own wife, has his own family. Do you think he wishes that he would have just never been born? Do you just not, should we just murder children because their life might be hard? Doesn't mean that the life should be hard or that we want the life to be hard. My own childhood wasn't the best. Luckily, it was better than that example. It wasn't like that, but, I went through stuff. I think we've all probably went through some stuff to certain degrees, but does that mean I never had the right to be born? I shouldn't have been born? Because my life was going to be hard, so I just shouldn't have been born? I just fundamentally disagree with that idea, and I think it's disgusting, to be honest with you.
Problem.
Yeah, and at least that man does have a choice if he wants to live. But if someone would have taken that man's choice away because they said, well, you know what, his life is going to be really hard. We're just going to kill him while he's in the womb. We're just going to take him out now so he doesn't have to worry about it later.
Between the two sides,
it kind of is though.
One side wants to have their freedoms, to have control of their own body, to not to have to be told by law you do have
control of your body to not have sex with people all the time, and again, because someone's gonna say it, yes, in the small percentages of abortions that happen because of bad things that happen to people. Not good. However, a large portion of abortions could be avoided if people would not just have sex with anybody willy-nilly.
You have to carry this pregnancy to term, no matter what it does to you, and that's what's happening to people. Even people that are under threat of losing their lives, mothers.
Oh, okay, yeah, but see,
mothers
we removed
under
that
threat
though.
of losing their lives.
Yes, but we removed that from the argument because I said, okay, well, in this case, I'll agree with you, and we'll say that in those cases, we're allowed to do it. Those specific cases.
And it was smart of her to remove it from the argument, just because it's never in good faith, and because it doesn't matter to these people. A majority of people, it's not going to be good enough for them. They want, easy access to abortions whenever they want it. They want a little punch card so they can get 10 and then get a free abortion after the 10th one. You know what I mean? These people, they don't care. They don't care.
It's fine.
Then that's
and
fine.
let's say that let's say for the sake of argument, that there's no sort of there's no sort of possibility of a mess up there, right?
And that's fine as long as
we're trying to figure out what you believe, not what the policy is going to be. We're trying to understand like what you believe personally. What's your grounding factor here?
My grounding factor is at the end of the day, everyone involved is taken care of.
Okay, so in the case of the baby, right? Even right now, if you were to have a baby, you could surrender that baby for adoption. And that's it.
But
you don't have to pay anything after that.
But right now, I'm not confident in the ability of orphanages and stuff, and their ability to and foster homes, and their ability to take care of children.
Okay, but let's just say, for sake of argument, that they are.
Foster these children.
And yes, like I said, a lot of the foster system is flawed. It is very, very flawed. We need to put more resources, more money, more time, more care into these. In fact, all of the money, time, resources, and care that go into abortion care should go into these things, like fostering and all of these things. However, just because a foster home is bad, does that mean the child should have died instead? The child should never, have existed. Is that what we're saying? Just because the foster system was not great, should the child just not have a choice and just be killed? No.
Just to have the government payout. They give them the bare basic things. They don't give them any actual good quality of life.
So you're saying that, hold on. So you're saying that the quality of life that the child lived determines whether or not they should live or die? Because
that is what he's saying, it seems.
You're making an argument to quality of life, right? You're saying that the quality of the life matters. Whether or not their life is valid depends on the quality of life that they live, right? That's the argument that you're making.
Someone in chat says, but what if the mother is in a situation where the birth is life-threatening to the mother? If the mom dies, the baby will not be able to be breastfed, which they need. I'm an atheist who disagrees. Okay, well, first of all, there's formula. The baby... I'm just putting that out there. A baby does not have to be breastfed. Is breastfeeding ideal? I would say yes. Is it 100% necessary for a baby to be happy and healthy and good? No, there's formula. Secondly, if the mother is in a situation where something is potentially life-threatening, doctors need to be monitoring the situation. And if that means that she needs to have an early, and she needs to be induced and have birth early, which happens quite often. Maybe the mom has preeclampsia or something like that, really high blood pressure, will be on bed rest in a hospital and will be closely monitored. And if it comes down to it, you can deliver early and hope and pray that your baby survives versus just killing the baby. Which I also want to be clear that once you're, I don't know the exact amount of weeks, but once you're pretty far along in your pregnancy, if you were to have an abortion, it's not an easy thing. At that point, the baby is coming out, oftentimes with those big, like the forceps or whatever. They will pull pieces of the baby out. They will inject the baby with some kind of, I don't know if they always do this, but I know in many of them, they will inject the baby, I believe, into the heart to kill the baby. And then they pull piece by piece of the baby out of the mom. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. And personally, I think what will be best for everyone is if you, do your best, make sure the doctors are monitoring you. And if you need to have the baby a little early and the baby goes into the NICU, the baby goes into the NICU. If, unfortunately, the baby doesn't survive that early birth, that's awful. But it's better than just intentionally murdering the child.
Not exactly. I'm just saying right now, as it is, as it stands, orphanages and foster homes do not provide as good a quality.
Yes, if the intention is to save the mother and the baby accidentally dies, that's not an abortion. The point is you are trying to protect both the baby and the mother.
Quality of life, as they should be.
Okay, but what does that have to do with anything?
Has to do with that what you're saying, they can just be put up for adoption.
Yes, but what does it have to do with whether or not they live or die? So we're talking about this in the context of abortion, right? And you're saying that, they might have a shitty life. What does that have to do with anything, them having a shitty life?
Would you rather that a life had not existed in the first place, or that they they spend their life suffering? That they spend their life suffering.
That they have the choice to do that. So, for instance, right? Do you think it would be fun? Do you think, if I gave you, Tazato, I gave you the golden gun, okay? Hypothetically, think about this scenario. I give you a weapon of untold power, okay? You can right now press that button and instantly kill all of the kids in North Korea because they're suffering. Could you press that button?
No.
Why not?
Because they're alive currently.
But they're suffering. So it's about life then.
But they're alive.
But that contradicts what you're saying.
They're already born. They already have, been living life.
Mm-hmm. So
They're
then what you're
already
saying
alive.
then
I hate to break it to you, they're alive and living inside the womb.
is that the
I don't know if people are aware of this. Like, what happens as well to, like, the mother and the child when they're inside the mother's womb? Like, that child can be affected. If there's something very traumatic that happens to a mother while she's pregnant with a baby, that trauma can affect and will affect the child outside of the womb. I was just reading a story recently about a woman who was in a really bad car accident while she was pregnant. And her child, every time there were really loud noises, any kind of loud noise, the child would scream and scream and scream. And apparently, according to the people, like professionals, they said that those things can be connected. The baby is aware of things happening. Just because it's so tiny and, they're not able to communicate with us, doesn't mean they're not existing and living. Anime Guy, thank you for the super. Tazato's argument, just father government take more money from me, because he keeps going on about quality of life. Yeah, it's just not a good argument for any of this, because like Letha just said, what about the kids in North Korea? And then of course he says, well, they're living. They shouldn't just be killed. Well, that's what we're saying. The baby's living in the womb. It shouldn't just be killed. But for some reason, people just can't seem to, like, connect the dots. It's like that SpongeBob meme where they're like, is this you? To Patrick or whatever. And he's like, yes, is this your ID? Blah, blah. And then he's like, is it you? No. It's like the same thing. They get so close. You get so close to connecting all the dots and they just can't make it.
So it doesn't matter then. Like the state at like which they will live doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Why
But
does
that
it
is
matter?
a different topic. That is a different
How is it different? I think it's the same.
That is a different topic in general. Helping people that are suffering currently.
Okay, so let me give you another scenario. Okay, say there's 100 mothers, right? And let's say that they're minorities, right? And that they're living in their country like kind of sucks, right? And then like let's say that it's a very poor country. They're not really gonna have like as much of a quality of life. And I gave you the death note, and I said, if you write this word down, it will kill all 100 babies in the womb. Would you do it? Because in the future they're gonna have a shitty life, right?
No, I'd write the name of the people that made the country shitty on purpose and to begin
No,
with.
that's not the question. No, you can't do that. This death note only does that one function.
I'm using hypothetical.
And how would that help all those kids? The person that made the country bad will die, and those kids just get to keep suffering, I guess.
Hypotheticals against your hypotheticals.
Well, I
so
mean, it
you're
doesn't
gonna have
matter
to tough
though.
it out.
The hypothetical doesn't matter though for
I mean, at least they would live, but
the situation. It doesn't actually like do anything.
So then why'd you bring up a hypothetical if it doesn't matter?
Because I'm trying to find the core of your beliefs. That's why.
The core of my
I don't know. I don't want to say he doesn't have any, but I'm not hearing anything that makes sense to me.
beliefs can be talked about all day long, every day.
That's important,
it only
though.
comes down to it only comes down to once I have to act on those beliefs.
Yeah. So what would you do in that case then?
That's when they're determined.
What would you do in that case then? Like, do you think it's fine to like use a death note to like if I like say I was gonna do it? Would you say like that's moral?
Not really.
Why not?
It's
Why
just
would you
not.
stop me?
Because I don't want you to have to be the person that takes lives for the sake of saving them from
Wait.
from a worse fate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's literally the same thing I'm saying to you. So you actually understand what I mean?
I feel like you're
I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand what's happening at all right now. I don't know what they're talking about right now. I don't know what he's saying. I'm
I
very
know
confused.
you're trying to like lead the conversation and the mindset and stuff to a specific place.
No, I'm just
That's how you how you debate.
well, yeah, because I'm trying to understand you. The thing is like you might think that I'm trying to trick you or whatever. I'm just trying to understand you. I don't understand your worldview. The reason I ask these questions is so that I can understand what you actually believe.
You go a really weird way about it.
Well, I mean, it's how we believe it, because I mean, I asked you yourself, where does the life begin? When is it okay to kill people? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about killing people. We're talking about, at the very least, the potential of killing people. So I'm trying to understand, at what point do you believe it's okay to kill people?
You're talking.
I feel like this is a very straightforward question she's asking. I feel like if you can't give an answer to this, I don't think you should be speaking about it at all, quite honestly, if you can't give an answer to that question. I mean, that's a pretty basic, straightforward question when we're talking about abortion.
Talking about at what point is okay to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at the deeper problem of what is affecting those people's, potential lives.
Mm-hmm.
That
I think murder affects people's lives.
would cause them to sometimes be better off not living in the first place.
So you believe that you can make the determination of that?
Because everything in the world is connected to some degree.
So the value of the life,
What is this guy saying right now?
the value of the life of a child is subjective.
Can you define the subjective real quick?
Sure. It's subjective because it's determined by the evaluation of a human mind. So the life of a child depends on who is observing the situation. Do you understand what I mean?
That's just in general from person to person. Because
I mean, I wouldn't say that, though, because if I asked you, like, Chad, if I asked you right now, we have a 5-year-old little girl. Should someone be allowed to murder this 5-year-old little girl? Doesn't matter the circumstances. Should someone be able to murder her? Yes or no, chat? Should someone be able to murder this 5-year-old little girl? Yes or no? I'm seeing some no's. It doesn't seem very subjective to me. Doesn't seem subjective to me. However, if you change that entire question from it being a 5-year-old little girl to a 5-month-old little girl who would be inside the womb, 5 months inside the womb, then it becomes subjective, right? It's subjective in terms of like what people view it as. If people view it as murder or not, it's subjective at that point. I would still say no. I would still say it's murder. But some people see it differently. As you can see.
everyone has an opinion.
Mm-hmm. So I'm asking you, what is your subjective? Like, what is Tazuto's idea of,
yes, like what do you believe?
Of when it's okay to kill a human life? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Pro-life, and you're gonna force everyone that gets pregnant to have their children to spend the 9 months of their lives having to go through that, then you're gonna have to also take care of them after.
No. That's just not, like, I'm just so sick. And keep in mind, guys, in their debate right now, they're not considering, the grape, if you will, and those types of things. Those specific instances they're not talking about those right now. They're talking about if you want to go sleep around. You know what happens if you have sex with someone. You know what can happen, okay? It doesn't always happen, but you know what can happen. So you're saying that we have to be responsible for someone else's decisions. I need to fund someone else's life. I need to pay for them to, I guess, just keep popping out babies, and you can't afford it. And you don't really want to, but I'm supposed to pay for it? Like, why am I supposed to pay for it when you're the one who did it? And again, we're talking about people who consensually had sex. This was all consensual. They knew what they were doing. They knew the possibility of what can happen when you have sex with someone. A baby can be made. And I'm supposed to pay for that because you just don't want to? And again, I'm all for social safety nets. I'm not someone who thinks, we should just let kids starve and die, I think if, parents obviously need to work if they can work, etc., etc. But like, yeah, of course, like if someone really needs food stamps, if someone really needs this, really needs that, I'm all for that. But like, we're not going to just fund your entire child's existence simply because you don't want to do it, because you didn't want to deal with it, because you weren't mature enough to make the responsible decision, and now you're pregnant.
If you're going to force them to do it.
So is the value of a child dependent on whether or not a person is...
And not only the responsible decision, I'm sorry, you just don't care enough about your child. You don't care enough about your child because you want to kill it unless it's being funded, basically, by the state. So, a baby can laugh in the womb. It is definitely alive. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Yes, a baby can definitely laugh. A baby can move around. A baby can suck its thumb and comfort itself. Babies can do all types of things inside of the womb, but people just can't seem to grasp that for some reason.
Is going to take care of that child or not? So, like, let's say that you're 5 years old, okay? And nobody wants to take care of you. Should I just shank you right now? Like, do I have the right to stab you? Because do you lose your right to be a person if your mom doesn't want to take care of you anymore? Like, at the moment that, so say you're 5 years old, right? And you have your mom with you. And your mom decides, you know what? Actually, I don't want to take care of you, right? Then do you lose your protections as a human being? Are you like PvP flag now, where like I can just stab you for no reason?
Because you've already been born and you're your own person now.
So now we're going back to the thing from earlier, right? Because you're...
So he's still saying, so now you've been born. So, I mean, this guy can't seem to pick a time whenever a baby is worth protecting. Besides when they're born. Like, I still haven't heard him, because she was asking, remember, she was asking, like, what about 7 months? Okay, what about 6 months? Like, when is this magical time when the baby suddenly has value and it shouldn't be murdered? Yeah, what is magically granted to a child as it just passes through? I want to know. I'm curious. But it seems like it being born, crossing over into being born, which is just very interesting to me whenever we just discussed that the youngest baby to survive was born at 21 weeks. So, and there are many, many, many abortions. In fact, let me see if I can find a number for this, because I'm just curious. How many abortions happened in the USA in 2025 after 21 weeks? I'm just curious, like, how many of those happened. I mean, even one is too many. So they of course don't have it from last year, but they do have some data from 2022. Released in 2024. So about 613,000 total reported abortions happened after 21 weeks. So 613,000 babies were aborted when they possibly could have been delivered early and survived in the NICU. Just saying. That's really sad.
You're saying, well, the person is born already. Okay, well, at what point is the person a human?
Depends on your definition of human.
Yes, what's your definition?
I think.
At what point? At what point? That's why I said, like, 5 years old, 4 years old, 3 years old, 2, 1, like 9 months in the womb, 8. Like, how far do you go back on that?
And I told you I don't have an answer for that, because none of us know.
Mm-hmm. But shouldn't you have an answer? If like your idea, if your idea is that it's okay to kill that person, shouldn't you have an answer as to like when that's moral?
Normally for this kind of question, you would wait to have more information on stuff, but
yes.
This is a specific situation where nobody will have the answer.
Yes, exactly.
Either ever or for thousands and thousands of years. We will not have that answer. So it's not possible for me to settle on a
that's my point.
Exact specific point.
Exactly. That's actually
because
what I
there's no
believe.
information possible.
That's 100% what I believe. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is like you don't know at what point that life becomes a person.
And see, that's where I disagree with Leaflet, because I believe I do know. I believe the and this does, of course, go back to the Bible for me as well. But again, like I said, I don't think you have to go to the Bible to understand that abortion is murder. But I think it's very clear. In the Bible, it says, formed us in our mother's wombs, knew us before he formed us in our mother's wombs. So I think it's pretty, I believe that life starts at conception. I believe when that unique DNA is formed, that is a unique DNA. That is a person. Every person has that unique human DNA. So
that's why I go all the way back to when the unique person is created at conception, right? Because
okay, well, that's what I said. So, but I'm confused. So is she saying that she just does that, like I guess she's erring on caution because she doesn't seem to know? I believe, I know.
At the point of conception is when the unique DNA is created. So do you see, like, that's my point, is like, we don't know from that point.
We do know, though. We know that the unique DNA is formed. That is a person. So I would say we do know. We know. And there's nothing wrong with saying that we know, by the way. Like, I understand wanting to be, like, kind and respectful whenever you're having debates like this, but there's nothing wrong, and maybe Leaflet personally doesn't feel like she knows, but I believe that I know, and I believe that's true, that whenever the DNA, that unique human DNA, is formed at conception, that is when life begins.
Point all the way forward, from that point to 9, we don't understand, like, the mechanics, I guess, of what you would call soul, right? We wouldn't understand the mechanics of that. So, like, I'm not a fan of blasting a person when we, sucking them through a fucking vacuum, when we don't understand the point at which you can definitively say that they're life. So
and see, that's where I keep coming back, though, with, like, I might disagree with Leaflet on that, I guess, because I feel very, very confident in saying that I do believe that is when, like, and I think there's a photo, there's some kind of photo, let me see if I can find it. I was trying to see, I had seen a photo. It's like what happens inside a woman during conception photo. There was like a photo. Here it is. It's like a flash of light. So let's see if we can pull this up. Hold on. Trying to get it over here. It's a flash of light. This is what apparently happens at the moment of conception under a special microscope. There's a flash of light. That's crazy. That's actually crazy, chat. Tell me that's not life being created. Tell me that's not a soul.
Even in the case of, I believe it's a life, right? But in the case that you can't definitively say whether or not it is, like it's a Schrodinger's, like, personhood, wouldn't you err then on the side of life?
As long as
I get what she's saying there, right there. Like, if you're unsure, wouldn't you err on the side of caution?
side of life will take care of them. But there's a lot of people that don't want to, that are calling for the complete abortion ban, but they don't want to do anything to take care of that life.
Give me one moment. So see now that you said that see now that you went into the thing again. So this is why it's looping, right? So when I talked about the Schrodinger's person, you don't understand when they're a person. You say, well, I care about whether or not they're going to be taken care of, right? So that's why I move the argument then to, okay, so is the quality of whether or not they're a person dependent on them being taken care of? That why does that matter?
Seems to matter a lot to people that are against it.
Okay, but why does it matter in terms of like the actual, like why does what people think about taking care of the kid or whether or not they do take care of the kid, why does that matter in the case of being able to kill them?
Because because each person has a right to life.
So why should we kill the kid because people...
And I know also people in the chat, like someone said, like it's a chemical reaction, blah, blah. And I'm not going to sit here and say that's not true, right? Like there are ways that we as human beings have been able to look at things through a scientific lens and be able to see things and understand things through a scientific lens in these terms. And I fully believe that God, and this is again my personal biblical opinion, I believe that God uses things like, let's like take for instance gravity. We know what gravity is based on science, right? But does that mean that God didn't create gravity? You know, does that mean that he doesn't control gravity, that he doesn't use that as a means to facilitate how he runs this world? Just saying as an example, you know. Just because something can be explained in a scientific way doesn't mean it can't also be something else.
People don't want to take care of them.
We shouldn't.
Yeah, that's my point. So now that argument, so now you have retreated from that argument, right? Because now it doesn't matter whether or not the person wants to take care of them. So I go back to, don't you agree that since we don't know if the person is a person, that they should be protected all the way to the point of conception because we don't understand?
Yes, as long as they are taken care of.
But why does that matter? Again, see, now I go back to the same thing before. Why does that matter?
There's a lot of people
you literally
intentionally...
Tells us that you literally just conceded on that. You literally just said that doesn't matter. You literally just said that doesn't matter. Like you said it doesn't matter whether or not the status of their life doesn't matter, that the life is sacred. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether or not someone wants to take care of them or not. They still deserve the right to life. You said that, right?
That's like basically what it, but again, he's arguing based off the fact whether or not the child has been actually born. And that's what it's all boiling down to, is people dehumanize babies inside the womb. And you know, it's crazy because let's say someone kills a pregnant woman. It's considered what, a double homicide or whatever? Like, we treat the baby as if it's a baby because it's a baby. Like, you wouldn't see, you know, if someone killed a pregnant woman, no matter at what, you know, length of the pregnancy she's in, you would say, oh my gosh, that woman and her poor child. You know? Whenever you go to like baby showers and the baby is in the womb and you're celebrating the baby, but the baby is in the womb. But it's a baby. It's almost like when the baby is wanted, it's considered a baby in the womb. But when the baby isn't wanted, it's considered a clump of cells. Like, why are women who are pregnant allowed to be excited about the baby in their womb? It's just a clump of cells. It's not a baby. Like, why are you so excited? It's not a baby yet. It's just a clump of cells. And if you have a miscarriage, when, you know, let's say you're like 14 weeks and you have a miscarriage, why are you sad? That wasn't a baby. It was a clump of cells. I don't understand. Why would someone be sad? Like, that's what... Like, do you see how none of that makes sense? Because it is a baby. It is literally a baby. But again, when the baby is wanted in the womb, it's a baby. If you know someone that's excited to be pregnant, they've been trying to get pregnant, and you find out they're pregnant, they're like 10 weeks, not super far along, you're like, oh, that's so exciting, you know? Oh, the sweet little baby, I know you guys are so excited. Oh, what gender is your baby? They ask questions like that. But when the baby is not wanted, it's not a baby anymore. Now it's a clump of cells, now it's a fetus, now it's all these other things. It's not a baby, and it can be killed because they are dehumanizing the baby. Ken, thank you for the super. Do I still do daily devotionals? I haven't did them in a little while. I do want to get back to doing them. I don't know if it'll be daily, but thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it.
People deserve the right to life, and they deserve to be taken care of if they were forced into being born.
Does that matter though for whether or not you can kill them or not? That's what I mean. That's the point that matters. I mean, I understand what you're saying about like we need to take care of them, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about specifically is at one point can you kill them? And then you said that life is sacred. You can't kill somebody because they don't have anyone to take care of them. Well, then that doesn't matter then, right? For the situation, because you said it doesn't matter.
You're trying to force me to say, to specifically say.
She's not trying to force you anything. She's trying to get you to say what you believe, and it's just really hard for you for some reason.
If I am pro-life or pro-abortion.
Yes. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about the whole time. I'm just trying to understand what you believe. I'm not trying to force my view on you. I'm trying to like have you understand your own point of view.
Not everyone has a
I'm trying to help you think.
View.
This has nothing to do with left and right.
No, what I mean is not everyone has a that view.
What do you mean?
Either this or either that. Everyone has a mix of views. My view on a
Okay, and I mean, yeah, a lot of people have nuanced takes. That's okay. What is your nuanced take? What is your opinion? You can't seem to give it to us except for the fact that once a baby is born, they matter. And when a baby has not yet been born, I guess they don't matter. I mean, that so far, am I off base, chat? That's what I'm getting from this guy so far. Is that when the baby is born, then it matters. But if the baby hasn't been born yet, he hasn't given us a time frame of like the age or whatever inside the womb. It sounds like if the baby has been born, the baby matters. If the baby hasn't been born yet, the baby doesn't matter and it can be killed. That's what I'm getting as of right now.
Abortion does not
this isn't about
100% go
this
to
isn't
one
political.
side or the other.
No, yeah, I get it.
And of course, like, everything is political, but also, like, this is literally, it's like what the left says all the time, like, this isn't political, blah, blah, this is human rights. No, like, this is human rights. Like, this is, like, the right to life. Like, no, this is human rights. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand.
It shouldn't be political. It is. It shouldn't be.
Why though, right? So this is if you think about like everything I've said in this conversation, it's been groundwork for you to understand what you believe, right? This is why I asked you earlier, do you think that life is so important that we shouldn't take the chance of killing people? Like we shouldn't take the chance of killing people for no reason, right? So we established that the value of the person doesn't matter.
3 or 4 main questions you're trying to get an answer on.
I already asked them. So let's like go through it, okay? So you agreed that it doesn't matter whether or not a person wants to take care of a person; they still have a right to life, correct?
People have a right to life.
Yes. Okay. So at what point do they have what point does that right to life exist? Like at what point does that kick in, right? And then we agreed
we do not know.
Through the barrel.
So we don't. So he's saying we don't know, but everything he's saying leads me to think he's not erring on the side of caution, right? He's saying, well, we don't know, so once the baby's born, the baby's born.
But he knows.
Through the Schrodinger thing, yes, exactly. So through Schrodinger's personhood, we have determined that we don't understand exactly where that life begins, which is why I said we should err on the side of life, correct? Again, like if there was a barrel and there was like potentially a person in it, you wouldn't shoot it, right?
Err on the side of life until we know, which might be never.
Sure. So then then wouldn't you say that all the way to the beginning, the person has a right to life at conception? Because at conception is when the unique DNA is created. That's when the unique person exists.
The counterpoint, by that argument, does that mean men can't masturbate anymore?
No, because that's not conception.
But it's wasting life DNA.
No, that doesn't matter. I'm talking about when the unique person is created. The unique person is created. I don't believe the Catholic thing of that, by the way. Yeah.
So the egg by itself and the sperm by itself do not matter.
Yes, because they don't harbor.
Because they're two half parts of one life.
Exactly.
They don't matter.
They don't harbor the unique DNA. That's why. Once they combine is when the unique person is created. That's when the unique DNA is created at that point, right? That's when the DNA mixes, right? Into a unique entity. But like do you see what I mean? About how that's when the unique person is created. So I don't agree with the, you know, like when a woman, like, you know, menstruates the egg, that's killing somebody. I don't believe that a person.
I don't think anyone believes that when a woman menstruates, it's killing someone. I would hope not. What? I never even heard that before. That's crazy.
And fapping into a sock is killing somebody because the unique person isn't created. It's at the point.
Yeah, and like whether or not it's a sin is a separate argument, right? Like whether or not like masturbation is a sin is a separate argument to is it murdering a child? I don't believe it's murdering a child. I believe it's different. So
that the two mix that it creates.
I don't know what's even going on right now. These are okay.
The unique person. So at that point, I think that the person should be protected from that point forward. Do you see how it's consistent? And like, even if I don't know, even if I don't know whether or not that there's a person there,
or if it becomes viable or
we
unviable.
all don't know. That's my point, is we all don't know. So even in the case that you were to say, well, we don't know, well, then if we don't know, then shouldn't you err on the side of not killing a person? Again, using the Schrodinger's like barrel.
You would think, but you would be wrong.
Schrodinger's person thing that we talked about, right? So do you agree with me then that it should be protected at that point?
Yeah,
and then all the other things too, like that we should take care of people, obviously.
I do agree that, you know, life should be protected, life should be allowed and, you know, helped to flourish and actually have a good life.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people that just don't want that.
Yeah, and I don't like that either.
They don't want, like, oh, well, why should I have to pay money extra?
This guy's obsessed with taxes. Like, this guy wants us to just, I don't know what he's wanting at this point. He just wants us to pay up. Pay up. And it's just funny. He's obsessed with the tax argument. It's like, we're talking about murder here, and you are so focused on the money. Like, I get, like, you want people to be taken care of, clearly, but it's like, we're talking about murder here.
Extra money in taxes because some bitch decided to go fuck a dude or something. It's not even my kid.
I still think it's irresponsible for them, but I think
that they still are against abortion.
Sure.
That's why the left jokes about the right being like, oh, they're pro-life until the baby's born.
Well, I mean,
that's just an easy thing for someone to say, because that's not true, actually. I'm pretty sure, at least in the U.S., like, Christians are some of the biggest groups of people that adopt children. I know at the church we attend, there are tons and tons of people that adopt and foster and have fostered and ended up adopting some of the kids they were fostering. It's just not true to say that you know, the right only cares about kids until they're born and then doesn't care about them. It's easy for someone to say because they want to paint us as bad people.
It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter. Like whether or not what other people do doesn't justify wanting people to die.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and exactly. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, you can say all of that, and that all could very well be true. Does that still justify murder? No.
It doesn't matter. Like sure, you know, I agree with you that we could do more to take care of people. I also think, though, that people that don't want to have kids, they should have a little bit more restraint, because, you know, that is the consequence of those actions, that it can lead to that. I think there's a lot of things we can talk to. I think there's a lot of things we can talk to around this, around, like, you know, how we take care of kids, like making adoption things better.
You know,
of course,
healthcare and orphanages and foster care and all that. So they're all other topics and stuff.
I agree, but to go back to the bottom line,
every problem in the world is all linked together.
Yes,
it's just mapping it is impossible almost.
So I'm gonna wrap everything up. Okay, so I agree with you that there are issues there that we can fix, right? But that doesn't justify killing people. So do you believe now? So let's fix
these social issues, right? Let's fix these problems. Let's not resort to murdering babies. Let's put our effort and attention towards coming up with some solutions. How about that?
Are you pro-life now? Do you agree that we don't know the person, so they deserve protection since the moment that they're conceived? But I can also agree that, like you said, we could do better to take care of people.
I'll be more on the pro-life side when they actually take measures to take care of.
Why does that matter, though? Why does that matter? Why does what other people...
So you'll be more on the pro-life side if they fix all of these things. Yet you're on the, pro-abortion side. And those were his words, by the way. I know some people don't like using the word pro-abortion. They use the word pro-choice. He said, I believe earlier in this, pro-abortion. Or she did one, they were talking about pro-abortion. I digress. So, like, you're comfortable with being on that side, though, when they also don't fix those problems and they believe in murdering children. Okay, got it.
People and how they treat kids. How does that matter? How does that change the value of the lives, right? So now what you're saying is the value of we've already established that they're a person all the way back to conception. So why does their value shift depending on how other people value it? Is their value so subjective that we can determine to kill them for our convenience?
Right now, and go and all support the complete ban.
Yes.
And the ban went through. They wouldn't pass anything to support those people being born.
Would you kill them with your own hands?
I know that for a fact. If we force people to if we completely banned abortion right now, those people would not be taken care of. So
would you kill them then? Would you kill them? Would you kill them with your own hands? Because you're making that determination. So like you are utilizing force.
I'll leave them to their own devices and decisions.
Listen, you are utilizing force. You are when you vote for something, you're utilizing your own force. So would you with your own hands kill them? Right? Would you do it? Would you do the thing? Because we've determined already that they have a right to life since the beginning. So can you kill them? Can you do it?
No.
Exactly.
What do you?
So why should other people do it? Why should we allow anyone to do that? If I wanted to kill them, if I wanted to kill a person, you wouldn't advocate for that, right? You'd say that was bad.
Well, until all that is that is promised.
It doesn't matter though. Why does that matter? Why does the promise change? Why is that the switch?
Someone said Leaflet doesn't value human life equally either. She values people individually like anyone else. If someone commits a crime, even if it's environmental, she still thinks they should go to jail. I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand how saying that someone who commits a crime, believing they should, be punished for their crime, how that would equivalent to what we're talking about right now with valuing human life by not murdering babies in the womb. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused with that. Can you try to explain that a little better? Because it doesn't make any sense.
Why is the promise the switch that determines whether or not the person has a right to life?
It's worthless without a guarantee.
So their right to life depends that if we don't give them free shit, then they have no personhood.
No, they have personhood.
No, but that's what this guy has been arguing in circles, and I think I'm about to have to skip to the end. I don't know how much more I can handle of this guy. But he keeps arguing about, I would agree if, that all this stuff is funded and blah, blah, and these things get paid for. So the kids can have, I guess, a right to life. They can have value in their life and be allowed to live and not be murdered if people pay more money, I guess. That's what I'm getting.
Then why do you advocate for killing them if they don't have it?
I'm not advocating for killing them.
Okay, so if you're not advocating for killing them, then you agree that none of that matters. None of that matters. And again, we can agree that there are things that can be done better, which I agree. I really truly agree with you that there are things that we could do better.
Done better, and until things are done better.
See, but why
I'm not going to take 100% definite stance on the subject.
Why not?
This person said, we clearly value people's right to life and agency pragmatically outside the womb, even if it's environmental. So why specifically is the womb beyond subjective value? Because a baby is innocent and has done nothing wrong and doesn't deserve to be murdered. I hope that helps.
You agreed already that it's a person. You agreed it's a person.
My own belief.
Listen, Taza, you agreed that it's a person. You already agreed to that. So why are you now changing whether or not they're a person? You're changing that depending on what society does. That's my point. It's nonsensical. It's nonsensical to say that whether or not they exist as a I believe that they're a person, or at least a potential person, but I don't give a fuck about them unless we fix this. How does that make sense?
So I'm not allowed to care
No, you are.
I'm not allowed to care about a person being.
You can do both at the same time.
Being a person and their rights and their potential.
Tatsuto,
however their life will be.
You can do both at the same time. For instance, right? You can say, listen, I'm against abortion. I think that it's a terrible thing, and I think it has the potential of like murdering people. But we need to do better as a society for taking care of people that have that. You can say both at the same time. You can be against it and then say, and then be a pro.
Whenever I said that me personally, I would not have an abortion. I would like to have a child.
Okay, so you agree then?
Other people.
Wait, but you don't want to stop other people? Okay, so now that goes back to like, okay, me, Leaflet, I'm about to kill a kid because I think it's okay. Or would you stop me?
Kill the kid?
I just feel like it. It's a pain in the ass. Cry too much.
It sounds like murder.
Yeah, that's my.
Yeah. Guys, he's so close. He's so close, you guys. He almost understands. Like, maybe we just a little more. A little more. He's so close. He's almost there.
My point. But you would stop me from doing that, right? Your justice, your sense of justice would prevent you would want to stop me, correct?
I am not the arbiter of ultimate justice, Leaflet.
What if you are? What if you are, Tatsuto? You are the arbiter of justice. Would you stop me? If you had the capability of stopping me, would you do it?
I would talk to you about it.
No, you gotta stop me. I'm about to do it.
No, she has, like, let's say you are in a room with Leaflet, you and this little girl, and Leaflet is about to just strangle this girl to death. And you know you can fully grab Leaflet and get her off this little girl. Are you going to? Or are you just going to try to talk to Leaflet while she strangles this girl? I think hopefully you would, like, jump in, maybe smack Leaflet in the head. I don't know. You don't know if you'd 1v1 Leaflet. I think if there was a little girl's life hanging in the balance or a little boy's life hanging in the balance, I'd go 1v1. I might get my butt handed to me. I'm not much of a fighter, but, for a child, I'd risk it.
You gotta make the decision. Can I do it or can I not? And if you say, if you don't pick, I kill him.
I'm not thinking of an answer. I'm thinking of what you're trying to get me to say.
I'm not trying to get you to say anything. I'm trying to understand what you believe. And see, this is the thing. Is like you think this is some kind of you think this is some kind of
how many times
of like Inquisition.
You looked around, you should have already figured out what I believe.
No, I actually don't know. That's why I'm asking. Because
what do you mean? Like he's like, well, you should have just figured it out. She keeps asking you, and you just won't say anything. Like.
Because what you're saying is it's incoherent. You kind of do both at the same time.
Like I said, you're trying to get a 100% to one side or the other answer.
Well, no, I'm trying to get consistency.
That answer does not exist. You will not get that answer.
I'm trying to get consistency.
100%.
I'm not trying to fuck with you, Tatsuto. Like I'm trying to understand like what your actual beliefs are. Like what's your actual. I'm trying to work through your beliefs to understand what you believe. Like we've already determined, right, that you. Yes or no? We've determined that you believe that life should be protected, correct?
Life should be protected.
And that it's not...
Life that is forced to be born should be taken care of.
Why do we keep saying forced birth, forced to be born? As if the alternative is not also... Like, is something that just, like, it just magically disappears, the baby just magically disappears. Like, there isn't... a terrible alternative to this forced birth, i.e. abortion, i.e. murder.
Forced to be born should be taken care of. Okay.
Me personally, I would never abort.
I mean, technically, weren't we all forced to be born? None of us asked to be here. I mean, like, genuinely, like, who here asked to be born? I think we've all said at one point or another in our lives, like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to be born. Like, it's what?
But you wouldn't want another person to do it, right? You wouldn't like if there was a baby.
But even though we didn't ask for it, I mean, do we wish that someone, hopefully not, wish that someone had taken that choice away from us? Like, should we just not have the right to be born? Like, no, I think actually we should have the right to be born and exist and not be murdered.
I don't want to take the right to a person's body.
And I'm sorry, I just can't get over it because babies are just so innocent and helpless, and they are the most fragile, helpless, members of our society. They literally cannot do anything. They cannot do anything to protect themselves. They cannot do anything. You know, the only people that can speak up and advocate for these babies in the womb are us, like grown adults. Because they can't do anything. So people can murder them and they just get away with it. And there's no justice. There's no, you know, it's awful. And we just, you know, turn our other head and pretend it's not happening. Like, do you know how much, like, what was the percentage? What percentage of Gen Z has been aborted? It's estimated that a third of Gen Z, which is my generation, I'm considered Gen Z, a third has been killed. 1/3. Those are people that could be your friends, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife. 1/3 of Gen Z has been murdered. Like, I need us to understand where we are at right now. 1/3 has been murdered. Also, Douglas, thank you so much for the super. Misery loves company. Sometimes I do things I know I shouldn't do. I always see myself unworthy and more, but life is in God's hands. Well, I think we all at times see ourselves as unworthy, but life truly is in God's hands. And, you know, we all do things we shouldn't do and things we aren't proud of, but God is faithful and just to forgive us, and He's always there for us when we need Him. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, we should not shy away from calling this what it is. It is literal genocide. It is murder. It is genocide. It is genocide. And a lot of abortion is also eugenics. People don't want to talk about that. You get testing to find out if your baby has this gene, that gene. You know, is your baby going to have Down syndrome? Are you going to abort your child because it has Down syndrome and you don't want to deal with it? And then don't even get me started on, you know, IVF and all the horrors that can come out of IVF, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's just awful.
Body away from others.
So it's about the right to the body now?
Because
see, this is what I mean. Like, you're changing the argument.
Because the complicated part about it is you're not dealing with one human body and their rights. You're dealing with two human bodies and their rights. Because the mother has rights too. So it's that point you have to decide what rights does the mother have over themselves.
Okay, sure. Let's determine that then. What's more important, a person being inconvenienced for 9 months or a person dying? Especially when it was the mother's fault that this happened.
Aside from it not being their fault.
Yeah. I mean, you know, again, we talked about the 2% cases, right? Like, yeah. I mean, like, for the sake of this argument, we'll take those off the table. It's only 2% of things. It muddies everything up. So, like, let's just assume that the laws that we make won't affect those people.
I would...
Right, because it was a choice that they made. It was a risk that they took. It was a risk that
they made. It's a risk they took to get.
Yes.
To get.
It's their fault.
So something that could get them pregnant.
Yeah, of course. It's a risk. It's always a risk, right? Even if you take birth control, all of this, there's always the risk that it happens, correct? And by knowing that risk and by engaging in the act of sex, there is the possibility that would happen, right? That you would create a person. So now it becomes a question of when it was the result of their actions, can they kill the kid because they don't want them? Is the quality, is the personhood of that child based on whether or not the mother wants them?
It shouldn't be.
So you don't think they should kill them then? See, now you have two rights. You have two distinct people that are at odds at each other, right? In one hand, the person has to have the responsibility to bear the child through the consequence of their own actions, whereas the other person's innocent that hasn't done anything, and the result for them is death. I do understand that it could be a tragedy for that person, that like they weren't ready to have the kid. They fucked up, they got bad RNG, but we're talking about killing somebody on the other side of it, right? It's two sides of a scale. So you have to pick one, because only one of those two realities can exist. Either the person to bear the responsibility of their actions on the other side of the scale, a baby dies. Do you see
A
that
clump of cells.
If I hear the word or the phrase clump of cells one more time, bro, we are all clumps of cells. That is what a human organism is. Oh my, it's like, it just, where have it's been 40 minutes and where have we gotten?
Very early clump of cells.
Well, you're a clump of cells too. We've
unique
Tazuto, we're not going back to this. We already determined that it's a baby. We already did. We went through the logic together. So I'm not letting you go back to that. So we've already determined that at the very least, it is a potential person.
I don't know what answer you're trying to get me to say.
He's so obsessed with saying that she's trying to get him to say something. She's trying to corner him and make him say or believe something. All she wants is him to just be honest with her about what he believes. And he can't seem to be very forthcoming.
What I'm trying to say is, like, which one of those two?
Yes,
you have to vote on it,
answer.
Tazuto. Say you are the one in charge. Say like you are the votes are in. Votes are in. Hundreds of thousands of votes on one side. Hundreds of thousands of votes on the other side. Tazuto, you're the last vote. You're the tiebreaker. Which one do you pick? You are exercising your power as a voter. This is your chance, and you are the determining vote. Which of the two do you pick?
I could say something, but I'm not going to.
Not vote?
But I cannot pick.
I'd like to hear your reasoning of why you can't pick.
Because no matter which way I answer, it's removing the rights of one life or another.
Yes, one of them has to occur because two forces are in.
Like, you can't say someone can have an abortion and the baby lives. You have to pick one. You have to pick one.
Are entangled. Only one of those results can prevail. Which one of those do you think has more precedent? The innocent person who's going to be murdered, or the woman who through her own action, the consequences of her own action, must bear responsibility for 9 months. Those two things, only one of those can be cleared. Either the child dies, and the woman is absolved from the consequences of her own actions, or the child lives and the woman has to bear the responsibility. Only one of those realities can go forward.
I know you got a show to do, so I will give you an answer within the hypothetical realm.
Okay, let's hear it.
I will side on the side of the unborn life.
Oh, and I want to say, because someone said, what if we have abortions but the baby lives? Oh, wait! That does happen! Yes, abortions actually can result in temporary live birth, and that baby has no protections. I'm not saying it happens every single time, thank God, although I wish that the baby just wasn't murdered at all. But yes, it can happen, and when it happens, the baby basically just gets to sit there and slowly die. Because they're not allowed to try and take it to NICU, try to help. The baby has no rights. And so the baby is just left to die. Punching Poet, thank you so much for the super. Jeremiah15 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I hope her conversion opens eyes. For sure, that's a great one. It really is. It's very comforting, I feel like, to know that God has a plan for all of us, and he made us very intentionally. Before he even formed us, he knew us, and it's just, I love that. Thank you so much, and thank you for the super. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, if you guys weren't aware of that, yeah, abortions do happen sometimes where the baby actually is a temporary live birth. The baby comes out, the baby is alive, whether it's for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't know if it ever lasts hours, but yeah, this says, and this is a 1981 article, in the Philadelphia Inquirer, estimated between 400 and 500 infants annually were born alive following an abortion attempt. That's a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ace, for the super, the $10. Abortion is the largest genocide of human history ever. Oh, you're fine. I appreciate it. No, it is. And I actually called abortion genocide, like, I don't know. I think I said it on Twitter or something, or maybe it was YouTube, I don't remember. I said it like a few months ago or something, and I had people being like, I can't believe you would call it genocide. Like, that is not genocide. Do you even know what genocide is? Like, yeah, I do. And yeah, it is. Let's look up the definition of genocide. Because the unborn are the group that is being murdered. I mean, you can compare it to lots of other genocides that have happened in the world. It is genocide. You can't just murder a whole group of people, including the unborn, because it makes you uncomfortable. It dampens your life because you have to take care of this child and you can't just go and do whatever you want now.
In a hypothetical realm.
Yes, thank you.
As for real life,
welcome
I cannot
to pro-life.
give you a real answer.
Welcome to the pro-life movement, Tazuto. I'm proud of you. I do think that is the honorable thing,
I'm still gonna fight for women's rights
to kill the babies.
They too have rights
To kill the baby.
That's why I told you I'm giving you a hypothetical
okay.
realm answer.
Well, so hypothetically, you'd kill the babies though.
Until all those conditions are met.
Tazuto, we just went through this.
Stance.
We just talked about how we literally just. I'm gonna let you go, but we literally just talked about how the personhood of the baby is not determined by whether or not they receive things. That
isn't it?
Yeah. This
Yeah, it is strange. It's very strange, actually. It's concerning.
This is what I mean by like your logic doesn't make sense. It's incohesive.
I know a lot of people can't understand my logic.
No, it's literally you're literally
it's not logic.
Contradicting yourself. It literally makes no logical sense because it contradicts itself. Because you said just now that the right of the baby is more important, but I still think that the woman's is more important. Which is like you're literally saying I agree with B, I agree with A.
The right of the unborn life is important, but until we can actually meet all of those conditions,
and again, we have already determined
the rights of living women are more important.
We've already determined.
The right of living women to murder their child for just because they feel like it is more important than the baby being able to live and not be murdered.
Determined that the person that baby's right to be alive, the right to life, has nothing to do with whether or not people take care of them. We already talked about it. That's why I'm saying what you're saying is incoherent. Like it doesn't fit. Like you want all of these things that are mutually exclusive. You cannot have a scenario in which the baby has their right to life and the woman can skip out on her responsibility to bear that child due to the consequences of her own actions. Only one of those two futures can exist, right? One future cancels the other future out. So saying that you want one of the futures but also the other future, it's not possible. That's why it's incoherent.
Until things change, that's where it's going to stand.
An
I have no words.
Illogical world?
I guess so.
I don't think I'd be able to convince you then, because if that wasn't able to convince you, I don't know what could. Because
nothing can, because they don't want to be convinced, they don't want to listen and genuinely consider what you're saying. I feel like he knows. I mean, Chad, do you agree that he knows it's messed up? Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious, right? That you're murdering a baby. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but for some reason, he still can't fully budge. Like, it's like he gets so close, and then he just can't... He can't say it, right? He can't fully just commit and say it.
It's illogical. Like
I wouldn't do abortion myself.
That doesn't matter. Put it this way, Tazuto. You wouldn't murder...
I wouldn't murder the child myself. Now, if my neighbor wants to murder her child, it's none of my business.
Someone yourself, correct?
Nope.
Would you be okay with someone else doing it then? But you wouldn't do it. But someone else would. So you don't care if the other person does because you wouldn't do it.
Depends on all the circumstances.
Wait, what? Tazuto, what? It depends on the circumstances. Like, are you listening to what you're saying?
Brain, I'm thinking you're saying that, and I'm thinking of every other instance where people are murdering people.
Are you listening to what you're saying? You said I wouldn't do murder, but if another person does murder, I don't know. Maybe it's okay. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Here, I'll give you a small treat. How about you take my stance, my personal stance that I wouldn't do abortion, as that I'm more on the side of pro-life, and have it leave
No, but because you're not.
it at that.
Okay.
Because you got other shit to do.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
There, y'all happy? I lean more towards pro-life.
No, you don't, actually, because you believe it's okay to murder babies in the womb. I wish you did lean more towards pro-life, but you don't.
Good.
This is not a one.
And why do you care? Why do you care whether, like, why does he even care to say, you can say I lean more towards pro-life. Why do you care what the label is? Unless you also feel like it's kind of sort of murder, because it is.
100%.
Take note, this guy also didn't condemn the killing of Charlie Kirk. If that's true, whew, yeah, this guy's a real treat, this guy is. Tinley, thank you so much for the $5 super. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys like the music? It makes things a little happier when everything is so doom and gloom. Tinley said, I read Exodus this year, hearing Pharaoh hardened his heart, or God hardens Pharaoh's heart. I now understand it means Pharaoh refused to understand. You know, it's interesting that you said that. I actually am reading through Exodus right now myself. Just finished Genesis. I read through all the Gospels. I didn't just finish Genesis, but I finished it a little bit ago. A few months ago. Excuse me. And I am in Exodus, and I read that part a little while ago. But that part was very hard for me. And I definitely want to do more research about that, because that definitely was like, whoa, he hardened Pharaoh's heart. But it's interesting to say it means Pharaoh refused to understand. And I feel like, well, I don't just feel like, I know God is good. And so I don't believe God would do anything bad or evil, because he wouldn't. So sometimes even when we don't understand something, whether it's bad things happening in our world, like abortion and all these things, or something you read in the Bible, even if you can't quite understand like why it happened, why God would allow it to happen, because God doesn't create evil, he doesn't do evil, but sometimes he will allow evil to take place, and through that can come good, obviously. But we just have to remember that his ways are higher than our ways, and his knowledge is higher than our knowledge, and that can be really hard sometimes, because we want to feel like we want to know everything, and we want to have it all together, and we want everything to be good all the time. So we just have to remember that God is in control, and that God is good, and just have faith in that, because, well, if you didn't, it'd be pretty depressing. So at the very least, we can have comfort in knowing that God is a good God and he's in control. Even if everything isn't always good in our life or in the world. I mean, it was never promised that everything would be, because we live in a fallen world. But hey, one day we will be going somewhere. Hopefully, Lord willing, all of us here. And we'll be in a much better place, and there will be no tears being shed. And you can't even imagine how good it's going to be if you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you pick up your cross and you follow him. Not to, get all, well, I actually don't care. I'm going to share the gospel with you. But if you did that, and you believe he's your Lord and Savior, and you do your best to follow him, and one day, guys, it's going to be so much better you can't even imagine. So you can just try and get through this life the best you can. The Bible says to rejoice always. Doesn't mean that you're rejoicing because bad things happen, but you can rejoice despite the bad things and just know that there are much better things coming. So, much, much better things coming for all of us. Ace, thank you so much for the super. I didn't believe in God really for a long time, but I feel like I need to start towards him. I don't know where to start or what to do. Read your Bible. Do you have a Bible? If not, I suggest if you can't afford one, I mean, you can get pretty cheap ones, even like a used bookstore, like a Christian bookstore, or something like that, Amazon. A lot of churches will give you Bibles for free if you go to a local church. A lot of churches, if you just say like, hey, if you call one up and say, hey, I don't have a Bible and, you know, I really would like to read one, I'm sure a church would give you a Bible. Read it, or yeah, of course. How did I forget? And there's the internet. And of course, I think physical Bibles are so important, but there's also like, there's the Bible app. There's, you know, websites where you can go and you can find the Bible. I recommend, everyone's going to give you different recommendations for translations. This might be a touchy subject, actually. People can get pretty heated over this. I personally have an ESV study Bible. It's a word-for-word translation. I feel like it makes decent sense. There can be some things that are a little confusing because it is word-for-word, not phrase-for-phrase. If you want to get another Bible to go alongside the ESV to maybe like complement it, so that whenever you have trouble with something in ESV, you can see a different translation and then maybe read that, then go back to the ESV. I personally like the NLT, the New Living Translation. It's a phrase for phrase. Just take it as you will. There's also the NIV, which is pretty popular. So yeah, just do some research into it. A lot of people are gonna recommend the King James Version. I don't think it's a bad version by any means. I think it can be a little hard to read. So if you struggle with the King James Version, I think it's okay to read something else as long as you're reading a Bible. So, that's my opinion. I would not read the Message as a Bible. The Message is not a Bible translation. Saber, thank you so much for the super. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've had a good year. I have, for sure. Yeah, New King James Version's also good. I mean, really, it just depends on what you're comfortable with. You can look at lots of different translations and see what works for you, right? So, yep. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. What the heck? Thank you, Douglas, for the huge... Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the dono. I hope you enjoy this, and I seen your video on Rev. That was pretty good. Thank you. I'm so glad everyone's enjoying this because I was nervous that people were going to be like, you know, we don't want to watch you. We just watch your husband. Like, we don't want to hear you. Like, I don't know. I was just thinking that, but everyone's been so nice and I really appreciate it. There is so much going on today. I can't keep up. I hope this helps. It does. Thank you so much. What a Giga Chat. Can we get some love in the chat for all the supas, but for Douglas specifically? That's crazy. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't read the Message. I'm just saying you shouldn't read it as like your Bible. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, a very general paraphrase. Like, it's not a Bible translation that you should read as your actual Bible translation. Does that make sense? Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys are so sweet. I'm so happy. Honestly, like, I've been wanting to do more kind of content like this for a long time, and I just have been so nervous for some reason. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to, like, articulate myself well on stream. Like, I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but, like, you know, it's easier when you're making a tweet and you're able to formulate it exactly how you want, and, like, you make sure you say everything exactly how you want it to be shared. And when you're on stream, everything's a lot more, like, off the dome, and it can be kind of stressful. and you don't want to say anything wrong, and it's just kind of scary, I guess, but it's worth it because this has honestly been so great, and honestly, I feel like I'm, you know, I don't think I'm doing bad. I think I'm comfortable. I was nervous I'd be a lot more nervous and like not be able to speak for some reason. I forgot that I'm such a yapper. Like, this is just, it comes natural, I guess. But I appreciate you guys so much and all of your sweet comments. I appreciate too, like, Stout saying, you know, I'll be real with you. I know you because of your husband, but I'm here for you. And hey, I appreciate that. And I take no offense when someone says they found me through Rev. There are actually some people that have found him through me. And I always find it so funny. It's just so funny to me. I love it. It makes me laugh because it happens like all the time. I feel like anytime me and Rev mention each other or do something together, I always end up seeing at least one comment that's like, I never knew you guys were married. And it's amazing. I love it. Riet Sila, thank you so much for the dono. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the $5 super. I never really heard you before. Have followed Rev. Knew you were base, but not biblical base. Love you both even more now. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I mean, this has definitely been more of a newer thing for me in terms of like becoming a Christian, and it's been sanctification is a process. I'm still on that journey, and I will never stop being on that journey on this side of the, you know, in this life, right? But yeah, I just think it's always so funny because it's always so cute when people are like, oh yeah, I knew Rev and I watched his videos, and there are people say like, and I knew, you know, you, and I watched some of your stuff, or they would listen to my ASMR, or they'd come to my streams. They're like, but I had no idea you guys were married and you lived together. And it's like, yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? But yeah, no, we are in fact married. We in fact live together. The guy, thank you for the super. Thank you. Can't stay long, just came to say hey and God bless. Thank you. Also, I'm working on getting that thing that can put I'm working on getting that thing that can put your actual messages whenever you do a super chat on the screen, so like I can click on it and it'll like stay up for a little bit while I talk about your comment. I downloaded the thing yesterday, and because Rima helped me, and one of Rima's mods was helping me, but I have to have her mod like help me like go through with it, because like I cannot figure it out on my own. I was trying, and I was like, no, I'm gonna have to have someone walk me through this. So that should hopefully be up somewhat soon, and then I'll be able to like display it properly for a little while I read it and, you know, talk about it and stuff. So you can be on the lookout for that. Sorry, I'm gonna catch up with chat, and then I'll let Leaflet finish up this video, because we're almost finished with it actually. I think it's also, Greg, thank you for the super as well. Strawb, you say your prayers plus use your Bibles. Please keep doing it. I'm gonna do my best. It's good to know you're exploring the faith. By the way, ever gonna game stream again? Yes. I did. I actually streamed some marbles last night on Twitch. I was gonna do Valorant, and then we were playing marbles, and I lost track of time. And I was so tired. Like, I'm like an old person now. It was like 9:30. I was like, guys, I can't go any longer. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you don't have Twitch, I'm sorry. I will stream games on YouTube as well, but like, I feel like if I'm gonna do a random later night stream, I'll probably do like more Twitch. And then more like scheduled daytime streams like this, I'll do on YouTube. So, why is Leaflet looking like that? Hi. I don't know. But yeah, I do be yapping. Okay, let's oh wait, one more comment. Someone said, Strawb, if anything, that is something Leaflet talks about too. how much she feels she has to clarify and make her points clear so we all understand your nervousness. Yeah, I think it's just very important, right? Because I never want anyone to misunderstand me. I think that's like the most stressful thing, right? Is like you never want anyone to like misunderstand what you're saying. Of course, some people will like, give you the worst faith interpretation ever, but you just do your best, and that's all that you can really do, right? Strawb, who did VTubing first? You or Rev? Technically, I think I got my VTuber model first. He got his like shortly after mine, but he was making content before me. He just didn't have a model. Okay, let's let Leaflet finish up here. So there's a little bit more. It's like 8 minutes left.
One side or the other. So I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm
just like me personally.
I'm not 100% on one side or the other. I'm in a lot of the middle of a lot of sides.
Like I get it. Like I can't parse like how this is possible. Like, is this what's going on in our country? Is it because a lot of people think this way? It's just so weird. Like I can't like what do you call it? I have a hard time. Like I have a hard time understanding that like this is how people think about things.
You need to try to think and see from the point of view of people that
unreasonableness.
That
you should try and see and think from the point of view of people that believe it's okay to murder children. And I mean, and when you do debate people like this, though, you should try to see where they're coming from so that you can argue in a way that is more, I guess, fruitful. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're not gonna like try and see things from their perspective so you can change your mind when you know it's murder. So.
Don't have beliefs in one complete absolutionist belief.
No, I fully understand that not everyone believes it's murder. I think some people are more aware than others. But at the same time, I still think that whenever you lay it all out on the table, even if someone doesn't currently believe it's murder, when you lay everything out and you explain the process, you explain everything to someone, and just like this guy, they're not able to give you a straightforward answer. They're very clearly unsure. Their logic is not adding up. It's not making sense. It just shows you, where they stand, right? And it shows you that they know that it's not good, right? Alexandrube, thank you so much. Thank you for the super. I am in the middle of a lot of things. Neutrality is the morality of the cowards. When the time requires, you take a side. Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that I think you can be more nuanced on. But the murder of children is not one of them.
It's
like this specific thing is absolute. There is no variations. There is no other factors. You need to try and see a little more outside of that.
So like vibe morality? So your morality is based on vibes?
That's what you want to call it.
Your morality is based on vibes? Like it's based on
a term for it.
Whatever you feel like at the time? Like there's no grounded reality, no anchor to your beliefs. It's just whatever feels good.
Technically,
it's a fluid morality.
Changes what
that sounds like a lot of people. Yeah, actually,
they feel every day.
Yes, when there's a logical
because
shift.
Every day something different happens.
This isn't like
changes what we believe. There, even in small degrees, every day things happen that changes what we believe and how we live our lives.
This isn't like epistemologically coherent. Like it's not coherent at all. It's like literally like it's literally vibes. That's wild.
Don't think of it that way.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, don't think of it that way because that sounds bad.
I'm not making like Tatsu. I'm not making a subjective opinion. This is an objective opinion. It's an objective opinion that it's incoherent because you have two different scenarios that cannot occur simultaneously.
Too hard.
Don't think too hard.
Don't think too hard about murdering children because if you think too hard, we don't want that. It's like with people, because if I didn't even know this until the other day, I think someone mentioned it on Side Scrollers. Did you know that the phrase "just asking questions" is considered a dog whistle? It's like a right-wing Nazi dog whistle to say "I'm just asking questions." you're not allowed to think hard. You're not allowed to ask questions. Yeah, Kirsha brought it up the other day on Side Scrollers. Yeah, you're not allowed to think too hard. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to question things. You're not allowed to do that. You know? Like, I feel like growing up, when I remember being in school and, like, we were taught, like, critical thinking and, you know, you should think for yourself and, you should get all the information and come to a decision. Like, I remember being in school and being in, like, my like, history classes and stuff, and we'd talk about, like, we'd have, like, hot topics where, like, at the end of the week, we'd all kind of talk about our hot topic, whatever it would be, and it was usually something political. There was, you know, the more right side of the class, the more left side of the class, and it could get pretty heated. My professor never made it clear. I still to this day don't know what he believed, because he would let everyone present their side. He would try very hard to keep it, you know, civil. And he would always tell us, I want you to get all the information possible. He was like, my job is that you see all the information laid out on the table and you make your own informed decision. They don't want that anymore. They don't want you to, you know, be informed and make your own decision. They don't want you to be a free thinker. You have to fall in line. And if you're not falling in line, you're a Nazi.
Don't think about it too hard.
Vibes?
Hey, people.
I just worry because this is how people
legitly get bad vibes from stuff. Okay, we all have sixth senses about things.
It suddenly makes so much sense to me, like how genocide is justified. Like, it makes so much sense to me now. Well, it does, because it's like, well, you know, they're not people because I don't really feel like
genocide,
it.
No, it's so true, though. I mean, that's how they, you know, do the same thing with, like, Jewish people, right? Like, well, they're not actually humans. They're not, and that might sound crazy to you. That might sound insane, and it should, right? But, like, these people believed it. I mean, look at the Holocaust. Look at what happened.
Plenty of history books that explain exactly how and why all that happened.
Well, yeah, it's like, these people aren't people. Why? I don't know. I just don't feel like it, you know? Like, that's kind of like...
No,
there's no, like, logic behind it.
It usually relates back to pride and greed.
There's no logic. Yeah.
So, pride and greed. Now that I'm thinking about it, what does abortion relate back to? I think pride and greed could be up there. Personally, I think it's pretty greedy to want to murder someone so that your life is a little easier.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Greg, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Abortion should only be considered to be an option if total loss of life is probable. Yeah, I actually disagree, simply because I don't believe that abortion is necessary with those situations. I think, like, if it's like, for instance, people love to use the ectopic pregnancy. In an ectopic pregnancy, the baby is not alive, so that's not an abortion. And similarly, like I said earlier, you know, if a baby is causing harm to the mother and the mother needs to be, you know, put in the hospital, maybe she has preeclampsia, really high blood pressure, she needs to be monitored and watched, you know, then you do that. We have modern medicine, thank God. And if an early delivery needs to happen to save the mother, then you do that, and hopefully the baby survives. If the baby does not survive, that's very sad, but you did not intentionally kill the child, therefore that is not an abortion. We still definitely make sure we take care of the mother, but we don't just kill the baby. So, but I appreciate the supa, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's no logic.
It's the two main causes of most conflicts in the world.
It's
somebody's
vibes.
Pride and somebody's greed, because they wanted something that someone else had, or they were so like believing in their self and their supremacy, whatever the fuck, that they deserve, you know, whatever.
This is crazy. He's literally talking about his side and his self. Like, that's... How can you be so close? How can you be right there? And just...
It's just vibes,
Just goes over your head.
man. All right, talk to you later.
Stream.
All right, peace. Thanks.
Peace.
Later, dude. That was elucidating. 20 minutes? Yeah, sorry. HC Paisano, thank you so much for the 500 bits. My mom went through foster care. It's hard, but at least she's alive and helps people as a nurse practitioner. Yeah, I mean, I think my logic's pretty consistent. Props to Tazuto for actually talking, right? Like, a lot of people on the left, like, won't even talk to me. They won't even have this conversation in any sort of good faith, right? So
Leaflet handled that very well, I will say. She has a lot of patience, and you can tell she genuinely wants to have, like good, genuine conversations, which I appreciate. And I feel similar, you know? Honestly, like, I would probably do more stuff like Leaflet if it wasn't for the fact that Rev would be like, do not talk to these people. It probably would not go great for me, you know? Like, honestly, he'd probably be right, but... Like, I just remember seeing Leaflet do, like, the thing with Nyara, and it's, like, in an ideal world, you could have, like, a debate with someone like that, and, like, it hopefully go well. I mean, we all saw how that went. Like, it did not go well. But I applaud Leaflet for being willing to have these conversations with people.
So I appreciate the honesty. But I think the interesting thing here, I don't think that the way that Tazuto thinks is actually uncommon. Even if it seems like to me as like incoherent, there are a lot of people I think that actually do think that way. And I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I am I surprised? Not really. Steve Jobs was adopted. Simone Biles and Bill Clinton. Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, was adopted. Founder of Oracle.
I'm so sorry, Lil Lockie. Yeah, your wife had an ectopic pregnancy. The baby was alive. So yeah, I can't lie, I'm not well versed in everything to do with ectopic pregnancies, but from my understanding, even if the baby is alive at a certain point, the baby will not continue to be alive because of the way it's not growing in the correct place, and therefore the baby will die. The pregnancy won't be viable. So the baby might be alive like super early on, but... And again, I'm not a medical professional. This is just my understanding of it, is that the baby could be alive super early on, but the more that it grows, I guess, it's not going to work because of where it has implanted, which is very, very sad. I'm really sorry that you guys went through that.
Oracle was adopted. Coco Chanel, the fashion designer. Jamie Foxx, Marilyn Monroe, Melissa Gilbert, Nicole Richie, Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele, John Lennon, Faith Hill, Nelson Mandela, Eleanor Roosevelt, Malcolm X, Simone Biles, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a legend. Edgar Allan Poe. That's a big one. Yeah, it's crazy. Wait, imagine if we just killed them all, you know? Just like, fuck them. Here's an interesting thing. If you still believe in abortion, like if you still believe it's okay, you should watch a video of how they do it. Like, you should watch a video of it happening. I think
1000%. You know, we talk about like, people are so like, they want you know, sex education in schools and stuff. I think, I mean, I really don't love kids hearing about any of this stuff, but if anything, show people, maybe not children, or maybe at certain ages it might be appropriate, I don't know, and with parental consent. But regardless, I think we should be showing people what abortion actually is. Because abortion is gruesome, it is terrifying, and I actually don't think I ever even saw like the process. Maybe college students, kids might be too young. And again, I think that what a parent wants is really important when it comes to things like that. I think parents should not even just be opting out, but I think you should have to opt in. And honestly, I'm a firm, I would prefer, you know, schools not even teach my kids anything, like me teach my kids things. However, I understand, like, some parents don't do that, but I still don't think it's beneficial to go to a school and teach kids, you know, here, have a condom, and you know, hopefully you won't get pregnant, and just like basically encourage children to have sex with each other. I think that's bad. Unfortunately, that's very common. in like sex ed classes and stuff today, but yeah.
I think that watching a video of it happening really contextualizes it, right? Because I think a lot of people, they don't really understand it. Like to a lot of people, abortion is...
I definitely think though that like any adult that says that they're for abortion should have to watch it and see what actually happens.
Some kind of etherical thing that's outside of them. It's kind of like, you know, when there's a war and the war is like across the world, it's kind of hard to really understand it. You don't understand the horrors of war when it's not affecting you directly, which is why like 9/11 was so crazy, which is why like the Charlie Kirk thing was so crazy. It's because it was like something that happened and it was like, wait, I know that guy. I watched that guy, right? And then it happens, you're like, holy fuck, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, exactly. Like it's something that's, it's outside of your understanding, right? And then you say that these things are okay because you don't really understand them, right? And then when you watch it, when you watch like an abortion, it's like, fuck. Guys, give war a chance. I've seen so many war videos. I'm gonna thank you for the bets. Pull up the video. Let's watch it live. I can't do it. I'll get in trouble. That's the funny thing is I can't even show it, right? Like
yeah, it's that graphic, that brutal, that awful.
An abortion video is too crazy to watch on stream. That's like how bad it is. Hideki, thank you so much for the bits. Remember Jack Nicholson saying that he thanks God that his mother didn't abort him because his father wanted his mother to abort him and she said no. Imagine a world without good old Jack. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating to me. Like it's hard to understand. That's probably how a lot of people think, you know, like on the left. Like, is that the difference between right and left? Is it really an issue of logic? I think there are people on the right too, though, that have vibe morality. I think there are people on the right. Don't consider you the norm. Well, the thing is, Tatsuto, I've experienced that a lot. Sorry, my cat's here. I'm petting her. The right is intelligent. The left is retarded. I don't really agree with that, to be honest. I think there's a lot of people on the right that are also really retarded. I think it's really a difference between people that have vibe morality and people that have actually thought about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, even though it was like really weird. Like, I hope you guys, I really personally enjoy that. I love like kind of thinking about like what I believe in. I was doing that last night. I was just sitting there for like an hour just thinking about how I believe on certain things. I mean, how many of you guys were able to think about it more because of our conversation? Like, did it help anybody in chat? Like, did you understand more about like what you believe in? It's kind of what I want to do. Well, one thing I strive to do that's a little bit different. Tell me if you agree with this or not, or if you think this is stupid. I'm not really interested in telling people what to believe. I'm more interested in helping people reach their own conclusion, right? And I don't know if that's a futile, I don't know if I'm just retarded or something, and this is like a completely futile endeavor, but kind of what I try to do. Because it's a lot stronger, right? Like if I tell a person, believe this thing because an anime girl said so, that's very weak. It's a very weak, shakeable belief. And all it would take is a different anime girl to tell you something else, and then you would maybe believe them instead. But if I go through the process and help you understand what you personally believe, that is a belief that is rooted forever.
All right. Interesting. Strawb literally just said she doesn't think kids should learn about sexuality in school. Are you not listening? Hold on. Why is everyone yelling in my chat? Stop yelling at each other. Just kidding. Let me read here. I mean, I just said I don't think that it's good. I don't think that it's ideal for schools to be teaching kids about the birds and the bees. I think that it's ideal for the parents to do that. I think schools can teach kids about math and science and English and honestly, you know, I don't even trust schools to do that anymore because they can't even do that correctly. I really have a hard time trusting schools at all with anything. Speaking of Leaflet, hello Leaflet! Thank you! I'm glad you liked the plushies. They'll always be special to my heart, even if things crash and burn with the company. But you know, I'll still love my my plushies forever. I got all of them. I've been watching for a while. I'll be curious to know what you thought of my reaction to you. I will say I wasn't sure what you were going to say. It was a blind reaction. I wasn't sure how how much we were. I knew we would have some. I knew we would agree on stuff. I didn't realize we would agree this much. I pretty much agree with everything you said. Pretty much. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were gonna have any exceptions to it. If you were gonna maybe say like, "Oh, I'm okay with it," and X, Y, and Z. But it was pretty awesome to see your take, and I agree with you on all of that stuff. So very heartwarming and just like nice to see someone else have a good take. Tinley, thank you so much for the $2 super. Everyone should learn better parenting, solve problems. Thank you. I'm a pro-life absolutist. Yeah, I mean, same. Me too. Me too. And I just think it's important. Like, I honestly can't believe I ever wasn't. I was honestly kind of like that guy that you interviewed. Hopefully, I wasn't that insufferable. I never would have debates with people about it though. But I would always say, I was talking earlier, and I don't know if you were here when I said this towards the beginning, but if I ever was talking about it with my friends or something at the time, I would say, I'm all for a woman's right to choose, but I would never have an abortion. I would always say that. I'd always be sure to get that in there, I'm not the bad guy, I wouldn't do it. And it's you think about that a little more, you kind of, you just really think about that more, and you're like, why was I so quick to, throw that in there, What the heck is on my forehead? Has that been there this whole time, chat? Why do I have my blush inside my forehead? What? Hold up. Ayo. I mean, I like this blush. I don't know why it was in my forehead. I looked up and I was like, what is that? I do not know how that got up there, I'm not gonna lie. That was funny. I was like, what? The blush is cute though. I'll leave it on. Yeah, I did not notice that. That was pretty interesting though. Yeah. I only concede on the 2% for the sake of the... No. And I agree. And I even said that, in the thing. I said I was happy to see that Leaflet conceded for the sake of the argument, because it just shows you that that's actually not what they're really looking for. People love to bring up those specific, terrible, awful, tragic circumstances to try and sway everyone's, feelings. And then whenever you concede, it's still not good enough. You say, okay, well, for the sake of the argument, let's say that's fine. Of course, we don't think it's fine, but we'll say for the sake of the argument, sure. And then it's not good enough. It'll never be good enough. And that's why it's not in good faith. They're not saying those things in good faith. They really want abortion on demand. They want to be able to just go down and get one for any reason at any time. You don't gotta, no one's asking any questions. That's what they want. So, and that's obviously not good. So, Anonymous, thank you for the $1 dono. The way I think about things is in my old military career, things like this is when officers in an air-conditioned office didn't understand the needs on ground zero where I'm at, and I have to live with the consequences of their actions. I mean, yeah, that's true. But yeah, did you guys enjoy the reaction? I think that was pretty fun. I can't lie, Leaflet. I don't know how you did that. I was actively losing brain cells, I think, the longer I heard that guy speak. Not even trying to be mean, but I don't know if this guy's a regular in your community. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just he kept going in circles, and it was very hard to listen. He's a mod. Aw. Well, that's okay. It was a tough listen. I can't lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But oh, he's not a mod. No. Okay. Why are you guys spreading misinformation? he's regular. Well, you know. Hey, I mean, I have some mods on my own, like, I have actual mods that probably would disagree with me, which is fine. I actually had a mod today leave. Apparently he, like, had no idea I feel this way about anything, which is, like, that's fine, I guess. He left a little message. He was like, unfortunately, he's like, I don't have Twitter, and I wasn't aware of Strawb's political opinions, and I just saw her video yesterday, and I don't want to be here anymore. I was kind of just, like, confused simply because I'm like, how do you not know? He's been a mod for, like, a couple years. I don't know. I'm a little confused, to be honest with you. And I don't say this to be mean. He was always a really nice person. No hard feelings or anything, but it was just caught me a bit off guard because I was just kind of surprised, but you know, that's okay. If you don't want to be here, that's totally fine. But I do think I'm gonna need some more mods. If anyone's interested in modding for me, keep your eyes open. I think I might, if you haven't joined the Discord already, feel free to join the Discord. I think I'm gonna put some mod applications out. I've lost quite a few mods, and I've had some mods just kind of go, like, honestly, a lot of them have kind of just, like, slowly over time, because I didn't stream for, like, almost a year. So a lot of them kind of, you know, doing their own thing. They're busy. They're not around very much. So I definitely need some people who are able to, of course, Rimniarch, he's here. I have some loyal mods, guys. It's not everyone. I'm just saying. But I do think having a few more would be beneficial. Including mods that kind of understand the kind of vibes I want to have in my streams. And, you know, I want people to be respectful. I want people to be able to speak their mind, but also I don't want it to get, you know, super crazy in here. So, yeah. So, yeah, just like I said, though, keep your eyes open. If you haven't joined the Discord, I would say join the Discord. I would say I'm going to be looking for people who are somewhat active. Like, whether you're active in the Discord, active in streams. Just because, you know, being a mod, you get a decent amount of power. And with that comes, you know, I want to make sure I can trust you. So, just people who have been around and for a little, even if you're newer, but, like, you know, people who are, just not total, like, I've never seen or heard of you before. You've never typed in my chat once. I probably would be a little nervous to mod you because I wouldn't know who you are, you know? So, I love how Leaflet says war. Yeah, her accent's cute. With power comes responsibility and trust, definitely. And I have good mods. Like, my mods are pretty sweet, so they'll be nice to you, don't worry. They'll be nice. And the Discord's pretty comfy. The right isn't inherently moral, in the same way the left isn't moral. It's just that the right, or more specifically people on it, hold moral views and positions. I agree with that. I don't think, like, when you look at, like, the right, there's a lot of things that, like, the right and, like, Republicans, whatever you want to call it, do that's not necessarily moral, even from, like, you know, when, like, I get my morals, like, specifically, like, biblically, but I agree with what you're saying. Like, however, like, people on the right that do have people that do have the moral opinions, tend to lean, I would say, at least center to right, in my personal opinion, which is based on the Bible, which is true, and the breathed word of God. So, yeah. I hope everyone's had a nice time. I do think I'm gonna probably wrap up stream because not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. But yeah, this was a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for the nice chats and everything. Thank you for all the donos as well. I really appreciate it. Yeah, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all the things. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you again pretty soon. We're definitely going to do some gaming soon. So it's not going to be all commentary. Although I enjoy doing the commentary. So we'll definitely have more commentary as well. And like reaction type things. So You can be on the lookout for it if you want to. Will it be Valorant? Geminex. I need your help, by the way, Geminex. Geminex is Rima's mod that I was saying was going to help me with that thingy, to get the thingy on the screen, because I downloaded it, and I do not know what I'm doing, and I feel like I downloaded a virus. No. Actually, I wasn't sure, but I downloaded it, and, like, for some reason, it showed me that, like, the download was, like, it was, like, named, like, XYPQ7654PIJKGHY. Like, it was, like, a random, just, like, long string of letters and numbers, but then, like, when I clicked my actual downloads on my computer, I saw nothing. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So, don't know what that was about, but we'll figure it out. So, I'll have that eventually for you guys, and then I'll be able to, like, pop it up on screen, and we can talk about your comments and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Do I not normally stream on YouTube? I've never seen you comment in the algorithm. I wasn't streaming until recently. I, like, didn't stream, like, consistently for, like, a year. So, but I'm back. So subscribe and hit the bell or whatever you're supposed to do, and then I'll see you later. And yeah, in the meantime, check me out on Twitter if you want. Join the Discord. And that's all I got for you. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you again possibly tomorrow. Just depends because I have church tomorrow, but we'll see. And yeah, talk to you later. Bye!